What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. I appreciate you all for being here. I am accompanied by my guest, Brian, the auditor. Many of you all requested for Brian to come on, and I reached out to him, and here he is. I was able to get him on short notice, so that's dope. Before we jump into today's live, let me say, please hit the like button on your way in. That goes a long way. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. That goes a long way. I'm gonna try to make this video not so long, primarily because I know a lot of you all are busy. It's a Friday night. It's been a long day. It's been a day that a lot of people have been anticipating. I don't know if Brian has been keeping up with it, but this has been a very anticipated quote unquote debate, or so they called it, a debate. And I'm going to give my thoughts. I have no idea how Brian feels about it. And so I'll be excited. And there may be a good chance that Brian and I feel differently about this debate. I don't know, but I give credit where it's due when it's deserved. Before we hop into this, I want to remind somebody of something, and the clip will be dropping here on my YouTube channel in a couple of hours. Hopefully the live will be over. More than likely, the live will be over by the time the video comes out. But I want to show you all something, and this will be relevant to today's topic. In the moment it plays, you'll see why.
Illogical when you are looking at less than 1% of the evidence against this man.
I think it's very logical to say, let me see the rest of the evidence before I believe he's guilty. That makes sense.
You're making a bunch of wild accusations. You're claiming he didn't take the shot, but you can't even give me evidence on who did then.
I'm claiming I do not believe it based on what they told us.
We don't have everything. They haven't even told us everything. That's the problem.
Thank you. I'm about to respond to you with your words. You said we do not have everything. That's why you should have reserved.
Been a trial, Didi.
Man, she said this 3 times. I heard you the first time. Hey, Lisa, what I'm saying to you is, because we don't have everything, wait before you say that the man is guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty. He hasn't been proven yet, correct? Has it been proven?
Correct.
Thank you.
But
so why do you believe he's guilty?
You have a lot of evidence to support. In fact, if you remove 90% of this case, you would still have enough to convict.
Yeah.
Because that's how much evidence they have. We are literally seeing less than 1%, probably less than a 1% of the evidence they have against him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they have multiple terabytes of information and documentation in this case. Do you understand how much information that is?
So, yes, I do. I'll believe it when I see it, and I'll analyze it when I see it. I just want the truth.
Except right now, you're jumping again. You're putting the cart before the horse, and you're jumping ahead saying that this man is innocent. He couldn't have pulled the trigger, yet you don't even have any of that information. Do you understand how immature that is?
No. Let me tell you my position. You don't get to tell me my position. My position is, based on what they've shown us, based on what they've told us, they lack proof. I don't have enough information to believe that this man did this. That makes sense. That's illogical. I don't have enough information.
That's not logical. That's extremely illogical when you are looking at less than 1% of the evidence against this man.
I think it's very logical to say, let me see the rest of the evidence before I believe he's guilty. That makes sense.
Okay, why am I sharing this clip with you all? Well, because it was brought to my attention that apparently, hold on one sec, I booted Brian out of here. Let me get this off of here. The reason why I'm sharing this is because it was brought to my attention that Mr. What's his name? Paramount Tactical, or as you all call him, Paramount Not So Tactical, actually, where is it at? He actually blocked me. And I didn't know that because I've never interacted with this guy. The reason why this is relevant is because as you know, you all know LisaKnows, the young lady who I was just debating in that clip. That's an obvious animation version of my debate with her. Link is in the description to the original debate with her. If you haven't seen it, it's extremely entertaining and just it's comedy. It's laughable. But this guy blocked me, which I've taken it as a badge of honor because I don't even know him. I didn't realize he was blocked until Ian Carroll responded to one of his tweets. And of course, I saw Ian Carroll's reply. So I attempted to reply to it. But as you know, if the original person who tweeted has blocked you, you're not able to communicate in the thread at all. And so, this is one for the team, if you will. Like, listen, that this is the same guy that being Paramount Tactical Gary, who it's been proven that he was working closely alongside Andrew Covett and TPUSA which is really, really weird. As I stated before, Brian the auditor is here. I have no idea how he feels, but I'm going to disappoint many of you, maybe even Brian the auditor as well. I will not be giving you all my quote unquote 3 or 4 dimensional take. That is to say, a lot of you all were like, did I notice certain hand signs? Of course I noticed that. Of course I look for those sort of things. It's sort of second nature now for me to just automatically look for those things. What do you think the true purpose of this debate was really about, Didi? I know a lot of you all really come to my channel for those sort of takes because everybody typically don't take that angle. Unfortunately, I won't be giving you too much of that. Maybe it'll slip up here and there, but I like to take my time with those sort of deals. And this is a 4 or 5 hour conversation we're talking about. Notice I called it a conversation and not really a debate. And so I like to take my time and analyze those sort of deals before I give the 3 or 4 dimensional take. So today is going to be more 2-dimensional for me, just sort of, and what that means is just my immediate thoughts, who I think won, who I think lost, what I think about the performances, missed opportunities, great moments. That's sort of what I'm going to be delving into. If you would like sort of my take live while the debate was taking place, because yes, today will only be clips here and there and sort of a conversation between me and Brian. I will not be reacting to the entire live here. This live will not be that long, not even close to that long. But if you want to see how I reacted to it in real time, I did go on Teresa's channel, Teresa BetterLife. You also can find that linked in the description. Shout out to Teresa. She was an incredible host. And whenever somebody is great at hosting, which isn't always great when you have multiple different people, personalities, and backgrounds, you should give them credit for it. And she did a great job. I went on to her channel. My personal opinion, I don't fully understand the reacting to somebody's live while it's live. I'm not bashing anyone who did it at all. Teresa said she reached out to Candace and to her team. I understand why people do it for sure. It definitely works. A lot of people got thousands of people to watch it with them. I totally understand it. So it's not a diss at all. It's just not something that I like to do because I like to pause it and react to it. And I would get on people's nerves, and I would get on my nerves if I watched it back. And so this is going to be a more of a 2-dimensional take. And I do plan to sort of react to it on a more 4-dimensional, 3 or 4-dimensional level. Probably Sunday or Monday. I'm going out of town tomorrow. So that is when I would be getting to that. I will be going on and featuring on Jesse on Fire's channel. That is the big news that I sort of teased in my last video. I will be featured on Jesse on Fire. He and I will be collaborating to explore the idea that Charlie Kirk is alive. I know a lot of you all do not buy that theory. He and I will be talking about what made us think that when we first started to suspect it. Maybe some sort of criticisms of the theory that Charlie Kirk is alive. We'll be going over all of that on his channel live next Wednesday. So I'm super excited for that. He's already primed the video. You can go onto his channel and you can see the thumbnail ready for that. And so before I get into my theory about what I believe could be going on, and my thoughts about the debate, I would like to start off with Brian, my guest. I'd love to hear what you think, sort of just your first thoughts.
Okay, so I know you said no 4-dimensional, so I'll try and maybe go 2.5 dimensional if that's okay.
Oh, my bad. Let me say this, Brian, you are free to go 3 and 4 dimensional if you want. I'll engage just a little bit. I won't say too much because I like to fully give my thoughts. You are free because this is not your channel. Who knows when you'll be back on or when you'll be available again. You are free to say whatever you want. In fact, it'll make the video even better. I don't expect anything less from you.
Okay, so I guess first thing for me, before I even think about the debate, it's just natural in me who won. And I don't mean who won within the debaters, meaning did the people in charge get something out of this? And a couple of things I looked at. Number one, while the debate was happening, I searched YouTube Candace versus Andrew Wilson, and I looked at live viewers in total. It might have hit 400,000, meaning between the reaction channels plus the main channel. You know what I mean? And so that's on a Friday in the summer.
In the morning time.
In the morning time. Now, I know unemployment rate is pretty high right now. No one's working, but still, I said to you on the last live stream, I still don't know anyone in my life that thinks about Charlie Kirk, is interested in Charlie Kirk content. I asked people today if they were watching this. They didn't even know it was on. No one even knew about this that I know. They didn't know it was. So I'm like, this seems high. 400,000 people. And if they are real, then that tells me this worked for the people in charge because it's keeping us in that echo chamber of oh, something definitely happened to Charlie, right? Your brain doesn't have time to consider what you said earlier. Maybe he is still around. Because if there's a 4-hour debate like this, how can I say it? George Bush, there's a famous clip. He didn't know he was being recorded. He said, in my line of work, I have to repeat things over and over again to catapult the propaganda. When he said that, that hit me. That gave me chills. Like, I get what he means, right? If they just keep saying stuff over and over, we're never going to stop and think, maybe something else is going on here. And so that's one thing I started thinking, like, wow, this is really going to make the people in our camp have a harder time with our case. If we get into like another thing, I thought maybe you know this. Boy, did the advertisers benefit. Man, if I didn't know any better, I don't know if I didn't know any better. The advertisers, I would think, wouldn't mind putting a good guy against a bad guy, build up this debate like it's WrestleMania, and now they are cashing in huge. Like I said, in total, 400,000 viewers between all channels. Most of those channels have ads, especially the Candace channel. There's a lot to gain from that if you're an advertiser. Like, did you have to pay a higher rate to get on this debate? I doubt it. On the Super Bowl, you do. But I'm sure on something like this, they didn't. So they would gain a lot from that. And as we said earlier, what a great distraction event. Your brain, again, cannot think about, oh, what's going on with my stocks? What's going on with my job? What's going on with the economy or anything else, because you're consumed by a 4-hour debate. As for the debate itself, I thought I was the loser as the viewer. I just didn't think I gained anything. So when I think about a debate, I don't know, let's say we're watching an economic debate. Let's say someone's debating the US dollar is going to collapse and someone else is on the side of it's the strongest currency in the world. We would get something out of that. People would make their case on the dollar. People would make their case on not. I don't know. I just didn't feel like I got anything. I was entertained at times because there were a lot of zingers, things were funny. But in terms of like knowledge and content, did I change my position? Do I now think, something maybe did happen? No. So I didn't really walk away. I thought Candace is a strong debater. Like, I would not want to have to debate her, was one thing I thought I would lose, because I just felt like very quick, very quick on her feet. I thought Andrew struggled on his feet, particularly with that exchange around the, the charges, the 7 charges. So that was something where she seems like a chess player and he seems like a checkers player, was kind of how I thought about it. She was thinking moves ahead and he was thinking more the current move
in the moment.
Yeah. So maybe I'll stop here. I mean, I don't want to just keep going, but
you're good. You're good. We'll get the exchange and things. Again, as a reminder, because I know what people expect from me. I know what they want to hear from me. They want to hear the deep stuff. But again, allow me to just go back through this debate and take my time with it so that I can clip it up. It's not easy to break up a 4-hour conversation. It's not. Like, there's a lot of clips circulating, but y'all know I'll go a little bit deeper. So you're gonna have to forgive me. I'm gonna keep it 2-dimensional. As a reminder, and that just means who do I think won, who I think what are my immediate thoughts about the performances, etc. We'll get into the deep stuff later at another time, sort of what Brian is delving into about distractions and who really won and what was this really about. Of course, this is the deepest I'll get on that level, and then I'll get into my immediate reaction. As a reminder, Andrew Wilson is a Freemason. Now was a Freemason. I don't believe he was a Freemason. We have him on clip saying it himself that he was a Master Mason, which you just need 3 degrees to make it to Master Mason. I believe that he is a Freemason. And I believe this was his humiliation ritual. And they all have to participate in it, even if that means they have to pay for it. And in this case, he paid for his own humiliation ritual. They're trying damage control because, for those of you that don't know, Mr. Andrew Wilson has already given a post interview. Did you hear what I just said? He's already given a post interview. Have you seen it? Don't worry, I got you back like Cadillacs. I'm going to show you all. We're going to listen to like just a snippet of the post interview he gave. And then we're going to delve into what I think about him and Candace's performance. So let me go ahead and share my screen.
It's like a UFC fight. Is Joe Rogan standing there with the mic? Or he's got him in the octagon? I mean, what is this? A post?
So he gave an interview with Steven Crowder, of all people. This is a reminder, everybody, so that you know what this is really about. Steven Crowder does not like Candace Owens for a multitude of reasons. Before, I show you all this video, actually, I want to make sure that I state this as a litmus test. And there's a reason I'm saying it before you hear this clip. A great litmus test to know if you can trust what a person is saying and if a person is objective, specifically pertaining to this debate, because most people are going to react on a two-dimensional level. They're not going to go as deep as Brian and I typically get. Ask this person, whoever that person may be, to find out for yourself if they're objective or not. One of these 4 questions. How do you feel about women? How do you feel about the Black community? How do you feel about Zionism? How do you feel about Candace Owens in general? Now, the 4 of those things may seem to not be related, but unfortunately, they are. They're very related, because typically what you'll find people who are critical are Zionists. They are a basher of women, not critical of women, not somebody that holds women accountable, which is very much so needed in 2026. I mean, like, they're radical with it. They typically have a personal vendetta against Candace, a personal vendetta against women, or they have quote unquote radical views about Black people, about race. That's going to be important because they're going to usually fit one of those categories. Now, with that said, remember that Steven Crowder and Candace Owens does not get along, because Candace Owens a couple of years ago had some very harsh and public criticisms and critiques of Steven Crowder and the way he treated his wife on camera. Ever since then, they've been quote unquote beefing, and Andrew Wilson and Steven Crowder are good friends. So let's take a listen to what he had to say moments after, which is already a bad sign when you're doing interviews immediately after, and you're sounding like this and you're making these types of concessions. Let's hear what he had to say here. It's only 1 minute and 50 seconds. Of course, it doesn't play, but don't worry. Let's refresh it.
There are people who will agree with you. And by the way, PBD's crowd mostly thought you won. We'll bring up our own poll. But you know that there are people who will already agree with you no matter what, people who will agree with her no matter what. Then there are some who have ears to hear, eyes to see. How do you think that needle will be moved from today?
I think it's the beginning of a snowball effect.
Okay.
So now that she's been challenged, I think, and had to give an accounting for the evidence, did a very poor job. I think that more of them will feel compelled to do more of these debates, or at least I'm hoping so. And I think that that'll create the snowball effect. At least that's what I'm hoping. But ultimately, there wasn't a need to push back too much on too many things, because she just admitted that she didn't have any evidence for anything.
Well,
so
that
like,
was
where do you go from there? You're like, hey, do you have any evidence for that? And they're like, no. She went back on all of her claims. And so, like, where do you go from there? In other words, there was nowhere I needed to go to demonstrate what it was I was trying to demonstrate, which is that these people have lots and lots of claims, and the second they're confronted with them, they back off on all of them every single time. Her sources, what a joke that was. My sources told me. Well, what validates your sources? The fact that I've released some, footage and stuff. Yeah. How would that validate your sources in these things? That makes no sense at all. These, I think ultimately, I'm sure that there's going to be some negative clips about me, especially pushed by the Owens people. But ultimately,
I'm going to do some negative clips on you, but that's just for funsies.
Of course. But ultimately, she didn't have anything. She had nothing. She literally had nothing. And so what made this an easy debate for me was that she didn't fucking have nothing. It's like, what do you want me to do?
An easy debate. More reason why I believe this guy knowingly participated in a humiliation ritual. I want to read something that someone said under my video about him being a Freemason. I actually pinned this comment. I do not have this video tag, but it's entitled, Andrew Wilson is a Freemason. This is all a ritual. Here's proof. The comment says, Andrew's tag is the crucible. In Freemasonry, a crucible is not a literal vessel, but a metaphor for a severe purifying trial that refines a Mason's character, much like metal is refined in a crucible. It underscores the craft's emphasis on moral development through adversity. And somebody responded and said, I still don't understand. I read your comment like 5-6 times. Is this how it feels to be ignorant? It's been so long. But somebody responded, and I thought this was important. They said, I gather he means this quote unquote debate with Candace will be his crucifying moment and he will be purified. He needs it with that awful, rude, disgusting mouth of his during this process. Think of it as a public humiliation ritual. I actually didn't even read this far. Basically, and then he'll go up the ranks. Question marks. Now, I told y'all I wasn't going to get 4-dimensional. That's definitely 4-dimensional. So, but this is important. There's a quote somebody said under Candace's video. They said, this is not even a debate. This is Candace having to explain everything to Andrew. Now, I want to make sure we make a distinction here, and this is very important. Many people have already started saying, Didi, what do you mean? Or to anybody else said X blank, fill in the blank. What do you mean Candace won? She provided zero evidence. Number one, that's not true. But even if it were true, she provided zero evidence. How can she win? I'm going to restate this again. 2-dimensional, everybody. Keep in mind, this is from a 2-dimensional perspective. Candace Owens, these people are pretending that Candace Owens is a judge getting ready to present zero to little no evidence to convict a person, to put a person to death, right? She is a member of the jury pool. That's not the case here. On a 2-dimensional perspective, Candace Owens is a podcaster that sits in her basement, feet away from her family, and she covers this case. Nobody's going to go to jail because she said words on her podcast show on YouTube, because she clipped it and put it on Instagram. She's not the judge in this case. She's not a member of the prosecution team, let alone the defense team. She's a podcaster. What's my point? Why are you, same people, not holding the prosecution, the judge and the jury, to the same standard? That's strange. They're the ones on a 2-dimensional perspective that will be putting a person to death. They're the ones that will be making the decision to convict a person for a life sentence, not a podcaster. If you have a problem with what a podcaster said, and on a surface level, you want to just challenge them on their beliefs, fine. Spending $300,000, I don't believe it was his money, spending $300,000 to sit down and talk to a person and challenge them on their beliefs as if they are the law when they're not, is strange. That's strange, bro. What's even stranger is that you decided to come onto her show after paying all this money. She's about to make even more money, by the way, just from her YouTube show. It was 1 million views in 5 minutes. What are we talking about? She's going to do all right. To then come onto the show to only repeat the things that you said publicly. You were supposed to have something else up your sleeve. This was supposed to be the big reveal. There was no big reveals other than, which I also predicted that you may do, which would not be a gotcha, and that is to present new evidence that Candace Owens does not have. That's strange. You're going to say, how dare you believe that Tyler Robinson isn't guilty when here's some evidence that you've never seen before, the public has never seen before. You should have known that this existed. Here's a gotcha. That's not a gotcha. It would make more sense if it was public, she knew about it and still didn't believe it. And that would be the text message he claims to have of Charlie Kirk texting members of TPUSA that specifically the left. He was afraid that the left, there's that left-right paradigm that they're pushing, the left was going to unalive him. Number one, Candace pointed this out. Why have they never provided this to anybody? That's weird. Show it. We've been asking. You provide that to no one. The second red flag is later in the debate, good thing Candace remembered, she asked you, hey, how about now? Now's a great time to provide that proof. You're big on evidence and proof, or was it positive evidence? Whatever he was calling it. Here's a great time to present the proof of that text. Do you mind showing it to the audience? Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. She said, do you mind if I ask you why not? He goes, some things you got to hold close to home, keep them coming back for more. In other words, either you don't have it or you have it, you're going to hold off on it for the longest and try to get more subscribers and revenue off of people coming back, even if it's just routinely, to see when or if you've dropped those text messages, right? Here's something that I want to also point out. Earlier, I mentioned the litmus test, a way to know if the person you're talking to is objective or not. And let me make that easier before I let Brian butt in here. A simpler way to think of it is, instead of questions, here's a statement. if the person that's speaking has a reputation for being radical or having radical views on women, they're probably not going to be objective about this debate. If they have radical views on the Black community, not being critical of the Black community necessarily, holding the Black community or saying uncomfortable truths about the Black community. I mean, they say radical things like Black people inherently have the lowest IQ of any human or race of human on the planet. They're probably not going to be objective about this debate. If they are against Zionism or proclaim or profess to be, or I should say, if they are Zionists, let's keep it short and sweet, they're probably not going to be objective about this debate. And last but not least, if they have something that's personal against Candace Owens in particular, obviously, they're probably not going to be objective about this debate. You know what I noticed about 3 of the biggest voices? Make sure I get this right. 3 of the biggest anti-Zionist platform brands or people all seem to buy the Fed slop when they usually don't buy the Fed slop. One of those people is Myron Gaines. Another one of those people is what's his name? Nick Fuentes. Let's start with Mr. Myron Gaines. I want to show you all what he said. Myron Gaines is a person who claims to be anti-Zionism, but he's also a person that's radical about women. You're going to notice that each of these 3 people, that being Myron Gaines, Nick Fuentes, and Andrew Wilson, fits into one of those categories that I gave you. All right. So let's hop into this. Let's exit out of here. Let's scroll up here and let's see what we can find. If they're going to act right.
Indeed, it's worth mentioning on Myron. He's ex-government.
He's ex-government. Very good point. Yes, he is. Oh, very good point. Yes, he is. So this is what he says here. Blew my mind. He starts off by saying, my unbiased. Oh, okay. My unbiased take on the Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson debate. So let's see if he's actually unbiased here. After the opening segment devolved into off-topic arguing, wasn't off-topic, the debate should have shifted to timed rounds. That format would have let each side fully lay out their positions and forced real engagement with the actual arguments. Casual viewers walked away without a clear picture of either worldview. The audience is the real loser here. Now, you can argue the audience is the real loser for another reason. It's not for the reason you gave. I said, dude, what? The true takeaway is that you're too much of a coward to admit that Candace, while 7 months pregnant, was paid $300,000 to wipe the floor and embarrass Andrew Wilson. But because you have taken this weird position that the Fed slop is actually accurate, and he's argued this on this channel multiple times, his chat is just flaming him, and he's calling all of them libtards, or he's calling them low IQ N-words. Oh, okay. Even though majority of the audience are white people, it's weird. But because you have taken this weird position that the Fed slop is accurate, you refuse to concede that your worldview was destroyed and has holes all throughout it. You refuse to take the stance also because he knows Candace Owens personally. Not only that, he's had a one-on-one interview with Candace, so he's trying to play the middle ground here. I said clown show, but it doesn't just stop there. Let's go to our other buddy. What's our other buddy? Where is he? Where is he at? Here he is. Nick Fuentes. He says the debate was basically unwatchable. We know what that translates to. But what is truly striking is how Charlie Kirk has become a background character in the endless soap opera about his own pow-powing. The story now revolves around the raging narcissist Candace Owens and the mass psychosis she has induced, which once again, Candace Owens is not responsible for many of us believing what we believe. She responds and says, in other words, you publicly said you were backing Andrew Wilson and are now coping with the fact that he lost badly. Now, before I continue, because I have so much more to say. Brian, do you have anything so far?
Well, I mean, we went through a lot there, so I'm trying to think. Let's start here, because this is an area that I've studied and paid close attention to. There's a very specific playbook for what I call the installation process, how they install someone, and subsequently what happens after the humiliation ritual. And so let's think about what happened right before the humiliation ritual. He goes on Joe Rogan. Now he's on this Candace Owens show. Now every single influencer is talking about him. It doesn't matter if they're talking about you negatively.
They're talking about
controversy creates cash. and it creates views. And I guarantee you, in a week, in a month, in 2 months, he's going to have massive engagement. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. The guys that are installed don't care because they're installed. So I'm assuming he is. Let's just say, for the sake of this argument, it doesn't matter. Just like an actor in a movie doesn't care if someone says something about the character they're playing. This is the way to do it. And then you get on every show. He was just on Crowder, just in that clip. He'll be on some other show after, and his profile is just going to keep going up. Again, doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It's just profile. That's how they do it. They've been doing it this way forever. And I don't want to throw out other names because I have no idea who's installed, who isn't. But I can just say when it appears to me someone is, this playbook to a T. They make the rounds. They're on every big podcast. They're getting talked about negatively and positively to make it. It's like a covert way to promote someone, because you're thinking, oh, well, they're bashing this person. No, it's covert advertisement. Reminds me of something I studied real carefully was how they installed gangster rap. By sending the entire media telling your parents, don't let Johnny listen to NWA. So then what does Johnny go do? By the end, that's covert promotion. That's covert advertising. Guess what? If you never mentioned NWA, my white parents would have never heard of NWA. How would they know that? Parents in their 40s at the time, 50s would have never known that. They would have never heard of Tupac, never heard of Biggie, definitely not NWA. Would have never heard about that. That's how they do it.
This is going to be so good. Because I'm going to be two-dimensional for this video. He's going to force me to be a little bit deeper here and there. But what's going to be great for y'all is that Brian is going to be giving you the other side that's way deeper because he already has so many thoughts. And I'm holding off on mine for now. And this is perfect because I will share this part. I've questioned this. I'm going to give Candace a lot of credit in today's video. But what I have questioned is the strategy of TPUSA retweeting Candace and claiming and taking this weird position that Candace is the reason so many people believe this when they know that so many people was questioning Erica Kirk well before Candace was. Why do they keep mentioning Candace? Why do they keep directing people to Candace? You know that people find y'all suspicious. You know that you're going to force people to go and watch Candace. You know that. And it's like, but they keep doing it. Nick Fuentes is doing it. Oh, the massive psychosis she's induced on society. You know that that's not true. But, oh, I forgot to say this, and this will tie into what Brian just stated about how it was so many live viewers. I don't doubt because Candace on regular has hundreds of thousands of people that watch her. So, yes, it was more this time. So it's not hard for me to believe it. But I'm not surprised, and I understand why Brian would question it. But something else that I found weird was it's much later down. 21,000 people liked this post. Yes, I'm not saying that it's not multiple people that feel indifferent about Candace or don't like Candace. I find it very difficult that objective people watch this debate and immediately, like within minutes of his tweet, he had like thousands of likes already. And I'm like, there's no way thousands of people watch that debate and they feel the same way and they're being honest. I find that hard because even if you came into the debate rooting against Candace, that performance or lack thereof was from Andrew Wilson. There is no way unless you are a bot, you are a paid shield, whatever term we want to come up with. Yet he has 21,000 people. Oh my! I don't care if it's only 21,000 of 720. That's about normal for that ratio, probably over the ratio of what typically you get for likes to views. But that blew my mind. I'm like, are these real likes? Are these real people liking this post? Or is this just meant to force and push engagement to make people think like, oh yeah, there's so many other people that feel this way? Like you're forcing people to think that they're crazy. Bro, if you watch that debate, stop it. Stop it. It was a clown show.
First, I don't know how they can be real likes because Twitter is like COVID. I didn't know anyone dying of COVID. I didn't know anyone in the hospital. I turn on the TV. They say every hospital is overfilled. Twitter's the same thing. I don't know anyone liking tweets. I don't know anyone doing this. And then I go on there, 700,000 likes, 5,000 replay. Yet in the real world, do you know who Nick Fuentes is? Yeah, I know who he is, but no one is that I know is engaging with his Twitter or anything. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this stuff. I mean no one. I'm not being hyperbolic. Like I ask a lot of people these questions, so then I don't just make stuff up. Like I really try and get good data on things I say. And I find it just very hard to believe that Twitter is real. I think When Musk bought Twitter, not to go too off on a tangent, but this is important. He said he would give us the stats on bots, and he never did. And I believe it's because it was probably 90%. If anyone's on Google right now, type in dead internet theory and just start to read about that. How essentially it's that the internet is fake. No one's really on it. Meaning at this level, I'm not saying people don't go on the internet, but you know what I mean? No one's like Reddit would be another one. You're in a chat room with bots when you're on Reddit. You're not talking to real people.
Speaking of Googling something, we have to make some clarifications here. So very many times in this debate, which drove me absolutely insane with this man, he kept saying that overwhelming evidence to him just simply means it's convincing. That's not what overwhelming evidence means. That's not what the word overwhelming means. Overwhelming means something is very intense, powerful, or great in number, right? It describes a force, amount, or feeling that is too strong to fight off, resist, or easily manage. So at the very beginning of the debate, he kept saying overwhelming evidence, because, and the reason why this distinction is important is because, remember, he kept holding Candace's feet to the fire, and he said, not only do you have evidence, what is it? Do you have positive? Is it positive evidence? He was saying positive something.
Yeah.
And he kept saying,
getting annoyed.
Yeah, he kept saying positive. But when he speaks about evidence, he means, it just simply means what's been presented, including what was presented in the preliminary hearing, which was overwhelmingly, we're going to use that word here because it applies, overwhelming hearsay. And by Utah's law, you're allowed to do that. One of their statutes or their codes allows you to do it. So why are you simply saying it's because he's trying to save face? He's trying to make it where what he calls evidence is considered subjective. It's just, from my perspective, I think it's overwhelming. Yeah, but the footage of Tyler on campus going up the stairs is extremely grainy. Break that down to us, why you believe that that's Tyler. Oh, I just believe it. No, but why though? Well, it's not just that. It's that in couple or with context of the rest of the overwhelming evidence. Right. But this photo, you tweeted about this photo. The photo, we cannot tell that that's Tyler Robinson, just like we can't tell from the footage on the roof. So I said I'm not going to get too deep in today's episode, but this is what I will say. I've shared multiple times, Brian, is that I believe that the confusion is on purpose. They could easily have made these things more clear, an open shut case, even if it's a patsy or not. And they can use this patsy to go along with it, whether he was set up or not, make sure that there's clear footage, clear video, clear evidence to at least enough to convict the guy, where very few of us can question at least what's been provided. But they've made all of it like this sort of up in the air, vague, ambiguity. It's like, it's just weird.
Yeah. One quick thing on why he used the word overwhelming. Most likely he was trained. And so if you ever look at, I mentioned this on the very first live stream we did, the CIA and the people in charge did major psychological studies starting in the 1940s going forward. Right. And they studied the use of certain words and what that does to the psyche. So if you're someone who's, let's say, low information, meaning you don't really know a lot about this case and you're a little foggy, how you were saying, something like the word overwhelming, no pun intended, will overwhelm your brain, and you will then question, I must be wrong. And it's subconscious. It's not conscious, because if some expert, someone with hundreds of thousands of followers, is saying overwhelming, you just start to feel dumb, right? Because naturally, unfortunately, we have like low confidence in our intellect, in our information, and they know this and they weaponize these certain words. And I could be wrong, but I've noticed this a lot. There's these keywords they'll use and hammer because it may not have worked on us, but they're not trying to get us.
It's going to work on some people.
Yeah, like I said, I would call them low information. I wouldn't even say they're low IQ, because if you have low information, you can't combat that. So someone speaking like this, confidently, overwhelming, deep voice, a presence like that, you're going to fall for it. It's kind of like I said to you, why do they convince us to mount our TVs? Because they studied when someone is above you and they're speaking, your brain thinks of it as authority, subconscious, and it's the same thing here. You hear overwhelmed over and over again, and you must be right, man. It's a subconscious, and it's really freaky.
Which is part of the reason why they put performers in a lot of these industry plants on stages, right? And they mount them up because, again, not only do I look up to you, I'm looking up to you literally. I'm looking up to you figuratively. But because I'm looking up to you, I'm more likely to believe the things that you're saying in your music. And if that means powing and selling drugs is the right thing to do, or twerking in the streets, or having baby daddies instead of getting married first, maybe you're that much, and you got all these people here, and we all looking up to you. I'm much more likely to do so.
And in this case, it's just debaters now. Instead of how you're saying musicians, now it's people in these quote debates where they're becoming authoritative figures.
Agreed.
But where's the authoritative figure on maybe nothing happened to him? Why can't there be that authoritative figure? Why is there only binary? Something happened to him by the country in the Middle East or leftist? Why can't there be a third and a fourth and a fifth?
False dichotomy. Exactly. And I want to respond to this. Somebody said, Didi, you need to correct yourself. Anyone can be the N-word, not a black only word. I agree with you. I think when the N-word is used, it can apply to anybody. The point of, thank you for that distinction does need to be made. N-word just simply means an ignorant person. But however, the reason why I said that particularly for Myron Gaines, but it is important that I make that distinction, is because when Myron Gaines uses it, he's using it for black people. That's the only reason why I say that. Let me just state once again on a two-dimensional level, and Brian, do not feel that you need to go two-dimensional with me. Keep it deep as you always do. I need that to offset what I'm sharing. When I knew that Candace knew she won this debate, outside of the fact that she was there, was because at the end of the debate, she decided to take time to just compliment Andrew and give him compliments. It was almost as if she felt like he needed it. She was like, I'm going to give you a compliment. Thank you for coming and willing to have the conversation. Well, he gave you $300,000 and came to have the conversation. Let's start there. All right. So he didn't just show up to freely talk to you to get clout. He gave $300,000 to do it. And the reason why I'm sharing that is to say, Candace knew she humiliated this guy. She knew the internet was already at work. She already knew listen, I have to say this. I've been critical of Candace, and I'm if I ever speak to Candace in real life or on the internet, whatever, I would imagine that Candace, she comes off as an objective person. I would imagine if what I suspect about her character is accurate, I would at the very least imagine that she'd say, you know what, that's fair to do. Be critical of me and be suspicious of me. And if I pass the test, then only then do you trust me. I would imagine that she'd have at least enough respect that I've been critical of her, and I don't just blindly follow or trust any person. But I give credit where it's due. I've always respected Candace Owens intellectually. Anybody that do not, they're a liar. I've always respected Candace Owens' debate style. In fact, I believe that she is very much so underrated. Please do not let it go unnoticed that Andrew Wilson, this has to be said out loud because I may clip it. It should not go unnoticed that Andrew Wilson has made a career and a brand off of being and saying extremely radical things about women. Many of the things he says about women, I agree, as it pertains to their dynamic with men and the family and things of that sort. But he goes off the rail and gets to saying all women are retards and things of that sort that I don't subscribe to. Make sure that you understand that Andrew Wilson, after building that brand, randomly decided to start defending a woman that most people find suspicious. He decided to die on a hill that most people are not on that hill with him, including the people of the quote-unquote manosphere. And he not only got humiliated defending this woman that he is called a retard, but he embarrassed himself against a black pregnant woman on camera that he paid $300,000 to have a conversation with. That's crazy. That's crazy. Andrew, hold on, where was I going with that? Okay, I forget where I was going with it, but I think that point has been proven. I can move on to my next point unless you have something.
No, I don't think so. I mean, you kind of said Russ. I think Candace is a chess player when it comes to these debates.
That's what it was.
That was how I opened it up. Just like I've never done a debate, but if I were to do one, the first thing I'd be thinking would be moves ahead. I would not be thinking about the current move. You and I are debating right now, Didi. I'm thinking, if I say this, what's Didi going to come back to me on? If I say the US dollar is going to collapse, to my analogy earlier, how is he going to combat that? He's going to say, well, no, there's 90% transactions are in dollars. Okay, shoot. Then I got to think how to, I didn't see the wheels in his head moving like that. Also, he opened the debate. I haven't watched a lot of debates reading a script. That felt unusual to me, whereas Candace didn't.
In fairness to him, he does that often.
Okay, then that's fair. It just felt like more of a rehearsal of these are the things I got to get in. Candace felt more counterpunching, reacting, like knows the material compared to, in high school, if you remember, when you did a presentation, the worst thing was memorize what you had to present. What if you forget something? Versus master the material, and then you go up and do your presentation.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's all.
You sure? Anything else?
One other thing just quickly came to mind. I don't know if it's that important, but because you had talked about the Stu Peters thing, and you were trying to figure out why he did so poorly.
I talked to him. He was on live with me earlier today. Well, go ahead and share what you got to say, and I'm gonna tell you what he told me.
So I have to be careful how I say this. I have not seen enough Stu Peters content, but I saw him sit down with the Hodge twins. I think you know them, and he came across far more intelligent and knowledgeable than he did in that debate. And why do I say that? When someone can speak uninterrupted for a long time, not about themselves, that's impressive. Anyone could say, yeah, I went to the gym today and I benched and I did this and then I went out. But he wasn't doing that. He was sitting here like talking about the Charlie Kirk case and just dissecting things. And yet in that debate, and so it just struck me as odd, because like I said, Candace had a similar Stu Peters vibe. She can sit there with no script and just off the cuff or whatever, whereas Andrew Wilson felt like he couldn't. So that was just kind of.
I can see to your point. I agree. Stu Peters is extremely brilliant. Candace Owens is a different ballgame. She's another level of a debater. But let me be clear. That's not a knock to Stu Peters. Stu Peters is extremely brilliant. He's on another level for me, humbly. And I say that humbly. I don't know if people will agree or not, but I say that humbly because I've been following his content for well before this point. Another level. The guy is like the real deal. So the live stream that I was a part of earlier today, once again, I want to plug her channel because I believe she deserves more followers. Teresa, BetterLife, once again, linked in the description. Stu Peters was on this live with like 4 or 5 of us, and it was an incredible conversation. But whenever Stu Peters speaks, it's almost like you're listening to a computer, but in a good way. Like it's different. It's not like a regular human talking. He starts talking and he starts using words and terms and recalling things like super granular things from October the 17th that people forgot about. And he's giving you the date. It's very, very impressive. But he explained, because I told him face to face as a man, respectfully, that I wasn't the biggest fan of his performance, but I told him why. I thought he performed strong, but I wasn't the happiest with the way he approached some things. And he told me, or he had already said by that point, that the reason why the only thing he cared about doing against Andrew Wilson when he talked with him was he just cared about getting him to admit that he worked for TPUSA. And he was able to do that within the first 15 minutes, the first 5 minutes or so. And the rest of it, he said it was just trying to dodge his tactics and exposing his debate tactics. Now, whether you agree with that or not, he did describe that. Something else. Oh yeah, before I forget this is very important. Candace Owens, I've always thought she was an incredible debater, very underrated. About a year ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, I was watching Andrew Wilson. He shares a channel with this guy named Jake Rattlesnake. They have like a channel that they collab together on, and they did a segment where they ranked they did the left wing as well, but they ranked right or conservative influencers based on a combination of things, including influence, followers, clouts, whatever it is that they've built, their platforms, their legacy, how great of a debater they are, how many debates they've been involved in. And they had like 6 tiers. Like they had God tier, I believe an S tier, A, B, C, D, F. Obviously, F being the worst. I'm watching this debate. I'm watching this conversation, and I'm just curious to see where they're going to put like 5 or 6 people I cared about. I was curious what they were put. Jordan Peterson, where they put Candace, where they put Matt Walsh, where they put Officer Tatum, where they put Steven Crowder. I'm watching. Bro, they put Candace Owens, and again, this conversation is two-dimensional, everybody. They put Candace Owens at like a low C. And he wanted to do D, but he moved it up to low C. And Jake didn't didn't challenge him. He didn't contest it. I was like, whoa. I knew nothing about Andrew. I was just learning about Andrew Wilson. So when I saw that, I was so confused. I'm looking in the comment section. Now I'm furious. I'm like, all right, bro, like you're not being honest. It's not about protecting Candace or anybody else. And then he got like two other people completely wrong too. And I'm like, I know it's subjective. A low C, you giving her a D? And he goes on and just starts berating her. She's a horrible debater. She's a conspiracy theorist. She spews a lot of lies. She's only been able to generate mostly women followers. That was a knock on her. The fact that she was a woman was a knock on her. And I then later found out that he didn't like Candace because of the Steven Crowder connection. Then it made more sense. A lot of people in the comment section was like, no, Diddy, calm down. This is what that's really about. That makes this debate that much more worse, dude. You rank this woman basically a D. Bro, at the very least, give the woman a B+. B+. B-. He gave her a C- and wanted to do a D tier. Said that she was horrible pretty much at everything, but the reason why she was so high and didn't have an F or a low D was because of the followers that she was still able to generate, how people stand up for and protect her in the cult that she has, which is what he called it, right? So I kept that in mind. After this debate, during the debate, my respect level from a debating perspective for Candace Owens is through the roof, Brian. Through the roof. To be 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And to perform this way, and she didn't know ad hominems, she didn't do no gotchas until the very end. And the way she did the question was brilliant, because normally if a person has a gotcha, you're able to catch it at the beginning. Like Andrew Wilson's clip he played of Candace talking about Erica Kirk needs to go to jail to be questioned, which we'll get to here in just a moment. That was pretty obvious what his strategy was at the very beginning of the clip. And I yelled on the live stream earlier today on Teresa's channel. I said, this was a massive mistake by him. And I let it play out. But what Candace did, I didn't catch it at the beginning. She goes, can I ask you a question? Remember, Andrew originally told her no. He said, I'd rather stick to the contractual agreement. Let's just wait for the video clip to play. So once they got through all of that, Candace was patient. She's like, okay, I just want to make sure you get everything you want. And I was like, shoot, we're not going to be able to hear the question. Right before they ended, she asked again. All right, now that we're done, now can I ask you a question? He goes, yeah, sure. So then she starts to ask the question. She asked about, so of what he's being charged with, which one do you think he's guilty of? Like, what do you think he actually did? That sounded innocent. I didn't see no gotchas in that. I was like, okay, I feel like y'all have already kind of discussed this. He goes, I mean, you mean like the specific charges? Like, yeah, bro, like the specific charges. What do you mean? So he's already nervous. And she goes, yeah, like, what do you think he's guilty of? And he goes, I think he's guilty of shooting Charlie Kirk. No, doofus. We know that much, bro. And she goes, no, but like of the 7 charges, which one of them do you think he's guilty of? He goes, 7 charges. Like, okay, how about we just pull them up and I'll tell you which one. And she goes, no, hold on. Don't pull it up just yet. Are you aware of the charges of what he's been charged with? He goes, yeah. Right. So how about you tell us what he's being charged with? And he's like, how about you tell us? And I thought Candace was about to let him off the hook. I was going to be so angry. I'm like, Candace, don't let him off the hook. She's like, I know the charges and I'll gladly do that. And I'm like, no, Candace, no. She goes, but how about this? You just tell me one of the charges. I didn't like that either. That was such a bold thing to say. I would have said, tell me 2 or 3 of them. That's the safe thing to say. To say one of them, he would at least off, even by accident, he may get one right. He goes, murder. He even said it like he was guessing. And she goes, no, he's not being charged with murder. He goes, okay, how about you tell us? How about you tell us, Candace? And name all 7 of them too. She goes, okay. She goes, the first charge is aggravated murder. He goes, okay, murder, aggravated murder. That's not the same thing, bro. It's not the same thing. She goes, what is it? Obstruction of evidence, or 2 times. Violence in the presence of a minor. And then she listed the other one, tampering of a witness or something, 2 times.
Yeah.
And then they fact checked her. Not only did she get all 7 right, she got all 7 right in order, Brian.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, in order. I noticed the same thing.
Andrew was embarrassed, so embarrassed that he went the next step and goes, I have a question. Just a question.
Oh,
yeah, I noticed you had your phone there. Yeah, your team having to text you that. Even if the answer was yes, what would that have proven? So what? So what? She was reminded of some of the charges. Fine. The problem is, and it doesn't negate or change, that Andrew Wilson, you didn't know him. No. You are claiming to know more, and that Tyler Robbins is guilty. So at the very least, if you think he's guilty of the charges, you got to know what you think he's guilty of doing based on the charges. You didn't do that. So she goes, actually, here's my phone. You want it? Andrew Wilson didn't take it. PBD, either of you? He never took it. So she takes it. I mean, so PBD takes it. He like, you're giving me permission to go through your phone. She's like, yeah, whatever you want. You have full access. He reads them out, and this guy almost called him an idiot, but I'm not that person. This guy goes, well, how do we know it's text? Bro, really? You're grasping for straws now. It could be Telegram. She goes, no, I don't have Telegram. Check it. He was so disengaged and embarrassed. I said on live, and I'll try to find that clip for everybody at a later time. This moment is going to go viral. This is her drop the mic moment outside of stating, I can, what is it? I can present the evidence to you, but I can't think for you.
I can't make it.
I can explain it for you. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. I can explain it for you, but I can't understand it for you. So I'm going to move on. Mic drop. My bad, man. We've been talking. Let me see if I can find a couple of the clips. I have a couple of the clips here. Where
also,
we can at least...
the one you're talking about, it was really interesting how physically he got uncomfortable.
Yes.
The second he realized, watch all the motions and how quickly he's talking over her. So it's clear he knows. I don't know any of these. He knows this is going to be a bad look, to me at least, because in real time, I was saying he knows how this is going to go. Because you just wouldn't react that way. Also, I didn't know murder was a charge. Like, I've never heard of a charge called murder. It's usually involuntary manslaughter, first degree. Like, the fact, let's say he doesn't even know any of the charges. He thinks murder is a charge. Like, maybe I'm wrong because I'm just saying this now. Maybe someone fact checks me and says, hey, idiot, murder is a charge. But I've never heard of it as a charge like that. Have you? Like,
I've heard of capital murder, maybe murder by itself. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that whether it's a charge or not, everybody knows that there are different types of murder, aggravated murder, capital murder, right? There's all these different kinds. For you to just pretend that, oh, okay, fine, aggravated murder, as if it's all the same, brother, it's not.
And he has to know that. Yeah.
And you know that. So let's relish in this moment together, shall we? And we're gonna just listen to how he handled this.
Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
You don't say.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following the case.
That's the question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty, like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should, like,
right.
Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really, hang on. This is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You
Go
name
ahead.
you name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He immediately responded. He knew he was
Like I
wrong.
was saying, yeah.
It was a shot in the dark, a murder. Okay, all right, fine. How about you tell us?
And so quick to talk over her.
Right.
Another thing, if you caught in the beginning, this shows how comfortable he is with lying.
Yes.
Because what does he say? Yes, of course. When to her question, do you know the charges? He says, yes, of course. That's
Bro,
not
sometimes whenever I talk to you, Brian, I feel like I'm talking to another me. And I don't mean that condescendingly. It's just like the way you think is like we're on the same frequency, like wavelength. Because I was going to mention that. The fact that he said, of course, he's doing the thing that you mentioned earlier, which is it's clear that he's been trained, which is if I sound confident and I go over the top, good evidence, and then there's overwhelming evidence. I'm going to use the word overwhelming. I'm going to use the word of course, because when I use those words, no one would question it at that point. So let me pivot and I'm going to flip it back on her. How about you tell us all 7? So that way I bail out, you bail me out, and I don't have to answer at all. Incredible.
He doesn't even. This is like,
name all 7.
And I
can you name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
do it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't
name
have to put
them.
your fingers up. I
Okay,
can do
hang on.
that.
Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay.
a death sentence
So
in the
murder.
state of you. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And
Next.
so just for people, no, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder,
He's about to interrupt.
it's narrowly defined
Just
and
avoiding
because
the
it carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work. And you'll be better the next time you debate
I got
someone.
it. I got it.
Oh, mic drop. You'll be better next time, buddy. It's not going to work today. You got to give credit to this woman, bro.
Yeah.
Humiliation ritual.
Yeah.
Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that people
I just
don't walk
want
away?
you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to.
It sounds like
How long did it take you? 0.
you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm going to
tell me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I actually am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And the
What's
final
the specific charges though?
that is them. Obstruction of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those-
of justice, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged with it.
Just the charges and then 7.
Yeah, see, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
You know what's funny? If she didn't know the 7th, he was ready to pounce. Meanwhile, this was the guy that didn't know one of them. And if she didn't know the 7th, you could tell right there. Because what did he say? What's the 7th? He was ready to go. That's all part of the strategy. Like he flips it. It's wild to see that. It just
that right there. And I have to give her credit for this too, man. If I had a moment like that, I think I'm a humble guy, but I can be pretty animated at times. I don't know how I would have if I was Candace in that moment and I performed like that. I don't know if I wouldn't take advantage of that moment and do something, whether that be facial expressions, cheesing, or putting my hands out like this. I'm only human, man. She sat there just with humility, like just absolutely emasculated this man, and he made it only worse. It's like he participated in the humiliation. He made it worse every step of the way by stating things like, oh, you're taking forever because you don't know them. Because you don't know them. You're pressuring her when you didn't know a single one. Now you're going to pressure her after she's already named 3. That's not enough.
Okay.
What?
He's using all the little tricks. That's what we just saw there. All the little tricks. And who falls for them? Maybe 5% of the audience.
Yeah.
In the beginning, Didi, why was his foot twitching so much? Was that nerves, or is that just, you think,
Nerves.
normal nerves? Yeah.
I know for a fact it's I'm very confident to say nerves. Why do I say that? I've watched several of his debates. This man is not shaking like that. In fact, he's normally very comfortable. Another reason I'm very comfortable to say that I'm positive that it's nerves is because, remember, he did damage control. Normally people do damage control after. He did damage control before he even debated her. He made videos, not to mention the give, send, and go he made, pretending that somebody's taking his money from him when he offered his own money and then wanted to get his money right back after she actually accepted the debate. But not only that, humiliating enough as it is, because all women are retards, according to him, he starts making tweets and videos saying that he's the victim and that he is the underdog, but he's used to being the underdog. He's accustomed to going into the lion's den. This is a woman. You're going into the lion's den in a woman's house? How does Candace Owens have the advantage simply because she's at home? Because remember, for those that'll say, well, she has access to her team. From the beginning, he had the opportunity to bring his team with him. By the way, he had more people there than she did. What are we talking about? How is it an home court advantage when you have your entire team? Both are in the same control room. Both are fact checking each other. You're allowed to provide as many clips and play as many clips as you want. What are we talking about here, bro? Something's, I'm like, and the fact that I expected more from Andrew Wilson, Brian. I expected more below the belts. I expected more gotchas, at least the attempts for the gotchas. But something tells me that the reason why it took almost 30 minutes, for those that don't remember, for the live to actually start, it was supposed to start at 10, didn't start until about 10:30, which it never takes that long for her lives. The reason why I believe it took so long, or I should say, I suspect that it may have taken that long because they were trying to clean up a lot of the little small granularities of the contract to make sure that certain lines wouldn't be crossed. And something tells me that one of some of the agreements that they agreed on last minute sort of threw him off, in the sense of he wanted to do a bunch of gotchas. He wanted to focus on the semantics. He only wanted to talk about, which so many things were not discussed. He only wanted to talk about the theories. Hey, you said this, and it didn't sound to me in this one clip like you were just speculating or asking questions. You sound like you were pretty definitive with this statement. You want to explain that? But when Candace was super humble about it, like, okay, yeah, I did say that this is why. By the way, if I'm wrong, I'm willing to retract it. But based on what we've seen, this is why I believe it. What do you do with that, dude? That's a person who only cares about the truth. They appear two-dimensional level, everybody. They only care about the truth. What do you do when you have an agenda like he does? Which leads me to one of the biggest points I want to make while I have 2,000 people in the building. Please hit the like button. It means a lot. As a reminder, Brian, the auditor, everybody's keep asking me, do you have a channel? Are you going to start one? And I'll give you an opportunity to have to answer that. I know that you were contemplating it. But what I'll say is, many people are going back and forth trying to decide if they believe that Andrew Wilson worked for TPUSA, if he's being backed by TPUSA. And I can say unequivocally, be careful with my language, I am 100% convinced it is. But let me tell you why it's different from everybody, from a lot of other people saying it. A lot of other people are saying it simply because he's admitted to being paid by TPUSA at one point in time. That's not why I'm saying it. I'm saying it because it's fine if you were contracted, outsourced to, or commissioned to teach them how to debate. Fine, bro. It does not mean that you are. But here's why I'm 100% convinced. It's something he did in the debate. And I got to give credit to her again. Candace caught it. I had already put it in my notes. And then Candace repeated it later in the debate. I said, this is very impressive on her end, bro. She didn't let a lot of things slide. Some missed opportunities, but she's only human. It's one thing to come in here because you don't like that Candace Owens has been spewing things that you disagree with, which is still weird. Who cares? Let her say what she wants on her podcast. You say what she wants. She's not in the court of law. She's not convicting anybody. Here's the problem. When he started going through the video clips, and even when he was conceding, he conceded quite a bit in this debate against Candace, or conversation with Candace. He conceded a lot, which is very strange. A very strange strategy to concede to so many things that you're saying are not that big of a deal. But when he started playing multiple clips and started making multiple statements, well, at the very least, can you stop talking about Erica? Why are 3 of your 5 clips things that she said specifically about Erica? Now you're here for an agenda. Because if all women are retarded, including Erica Kirk, you don't care about Erica. You admitted in this interview that you still think Erica Kirk is retarded. You still think that they're not fit to run TPUSA. You still think that there are feminists at TPUSA, which, by the way, another reason why he ranked Candace so low is because he called Candace a covert feminist. How do you go from feeling like she was a feminist, that being Erica Kirk, still a feminist and a retard, but you're going to go to this extent to spend an overwhelming, there's that word again, overwhelming amount of your time defending her? Defend TPUSA. You made it about Erica multiple times. You've been prepped. You've been trained. That $300,000 didn't come from you, allegedly. You came here to try to, which also was obvious when he kept saying, so do you think anybody at TPUSA or Erica Kirk took out Charlie Kirk? Do you think they had a hand in it? Okay, fine. Ask that question once. Brian, he asked that question like 4 times. Why are you so hell-bent on this question, bro? What are you trying to get her to do here? That was very obvious to me. Very strange. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that felt like a mousetrap. You're
did.
setting up a mousetrap for her to step into, and she didn't take it. I think she said legally, I don't want to say that. And I also think in her defense, it's unfair, meaning you're allowed to have a claim that you can't prove. It's called a claim.
Yes.
I'm allowed to have a theory. I don't think they went to the moon. I don't know if I could prove it, but why am I not allowed to say, I don't think the U.S. ever went to the moon? What's wrong with that?
And Brian, if you make the claim, I can ask you, well, what makes you say that? And you can just give me the reasons why you think. You're going to have reasons. But what Andrew's thing is, and I predicted that he'd do this, he'd say, when you're done giving your reasons, he's going to say, well, where's the 100% proof that proves that they didn't? No, I'm saying evidence. These are the reasons that lead me to be skeptical. I'm allowed to think and think that. He's saying, don't think anymore. You're not allowed to do that. Stop that. That's weird.
Okay, so I've figured out way more cases than he has. As you know, I did the Turning Point audit, and I've told you before that I've done a zillion cases. One day I should show you a bunch. Do you know how I solve them? By speculating. Because guess what happens? I speculate wrong, but within wrong, there's a kernel, right? A kernel that takes me, a kernel of truth that then takes me this way, or spitballing, some people may call it. So it's really convenient how these people in charge don't want us to, like, it's so dangerous to speculate. Why? Because you'll get to the truth. That's why. You will never swing and hit a home run on the first swing. So I swing and miss, but I learn from why I missed. And then I go, oh, maybe make a slight turn this way. And I speculate nonstop until I get, and I figure it out. I have to get things wrong in order to get things right. I can't think of a story I did where right out the gate I was right.
Very good point.
Very convenient how they're doing this.
I agree. Something I think a lot of people missed, and I think this will be a very great point. So much, in fact, I think I need to make a video on it because we're over an hour into this video, and so the 2,100 people that's in here may not be able to catch it because they may not watch this long. I hope that they do. So at one point in the debate, Andrew Wilson says to Candace Owens, Candace Owens makes an incredible point that I believe it was dust found inside of the rifle. And dust and debris. And so her argument is, if the rifle was recently fired, why was there dust and debris inside of the rifle? My theory is much more supported because it's very likely that this rifle wasn't fired at all. His response was, well, first and foremost, a rifle can be fired and there can be both dust and debris in the rifle after the round has been fired. That may be true, don't know. But then he goes to another step and says, and this is where I had to think on it on the live earlier today, and I was like, that made no sense. And Candace didn't think about it, and it's hard to catch everything all the time. He goes, also, Candace, you stated that the rifle was left in the woods. Well, yeah. If you leave a rifle in the wood, when you can see that there's possible that debris can get inside of the rifle. Well, here's the problem. Number one, unless that rifle has been sitting in the woods for a long time and you did some crazy things within there, probably not a rifle. But then again, it depends on the type of rifle. But here's the bigger point. The rifle was wrapped in a towel. Andrew Wilson, did you forget that? The rifle was wrapped in a towel. So no, debris would not be inside of the rifle if after he changed 3.5 million times. Well, let me not use hyperbole. After he changed clothes like 3 times, and then also was sending this coordinated text message explaining every bit of detail of what he had just supposedly done. In the middle of that, he happened to leave the rifle wrapped in a towel, so no debris couldn't have got inside of the rifle if it's wrapped inside of a towel, in the woods, which is property that just so happened to be owned by Palantir.
What are the odds?
Okay. Cool. Here's a bigger point. Shout out to Baron Coleman. Very good point. I did not find this. He caught this. And this is a point that I made, however, like 4 or 5 months ago when I was debating LisaKnows, and I debated somebody else. I believe it was the pastor from TPUSA, John Amenchukwu. But Baron made a great point on Twitter, and it's gained quite a bit of traction, as it should. He says, Andrew, well, I don't remember what the tweet said in particular, but he basically made the point. Andrew Wilson pretty much ended the debate in the opening statement. Andrew Wilson stated, they asked him how PBD, I believe in particular, which by the way, I believe PBD did a great job as somebody who's been very critical of Candace himself for reasons I don't agree with. He's very weird. I think he has a handler, by the way, and I believe one of his handlers is Adam Shishnik, the Zionist guy, Jewish guy that's on the show. That it's very unintelligent, and usually when you see a person who doesn't really add much value to the show or to whatever the product is, but they seem to be able to stick around when the audience don't want them, that should tell you what you should know. Allegedly, everything I just said is alleged. PBD was very fair, but PBD asked, he asked a question. He said, hey, Andrew, if I had to ask you, or Candace, what percentage are you convinced that Tyler Robinson did this? Candace said 0. Based on what they've shown us, 0, not 5%, 10%, 0. How about you, Andrew? Andrew Wilson says like 75 to 85%. Case over. The case is over.
Yeah.
That's probable cause, buddy. It's over. You need to be 100% convinced. That's how the law works. You're not even 100% convinced. Case over.
It's a great point.
Case
I don't
over.
know this. Maybe someone in the chat could look, but is Bet David a common Iranian name?
Ooh, let me look that up.
I don't know the answer, but just as I hear the name Bet David, he says he's from Iran. He sure doesn't look. He looks something else to me. I'm not going to say what. And so I just wondered if
no,
Bet David is
Bet David is not a common. Let's
I don't mean to go off topic, but you had mentioned it, and as you said the name Bet David, I know his big thing is he's from Iran, born in Iran, from Iran, and
is Bet David a common Iranian name? No,
Okay.
Bet David is not a common Iranian or Persian name. It is a Christian surname from Assyrian or Armenian heritage.
Usually these like Iranian Muslim sort of names are long names, Komani, like those guys. So Bet David is just not one. And I don't know. He looks, we don't want to get too, just, he's had an interesting rise.
Yeah.
I mean, quickly he becomes massive. Did you know he owns part of the Yankees?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know that he was allegedly offered to be a leader of Iran. Did you know that? And he turned it down.
Yeah, because he's the one that came out and said it.
Right.
He himself, he released the clips. And so it's like, why everyone we watch just feels big. Like you and I are going to stay at this low level right here, which is a great level to be at, by the way.
Right.
But everyone else seems like nuclear big.
Like
Iran
unreasonably.
President. Yeah. Like you just said, Iran president.
Like
That's
how you
pretty
get
big.
there in one lifetime big.
How? People becoming presidents, senators, people becoming the biggest YouTubers, Joe Rogan becoming the biggest. Those are just, but we're surrounded by a lot of them. Nick Fuentes at 18 years old is in the Boston Globe being covered, right? Being in all these New York Times, all these big papers. Not to pick on him, but just in all these people, it's like, man, people get big, like big. Andrew Wilson it feels like he's on a trajectory to get big.
I agree. I have to matter of fact, I'm gonna do this with you all. I have to go to the part, and I don't know if it's clipped on Twitter. It'd be a lot quicker if we did it that way, but we're gonna just have to do it this way. I have to go to the part where, bro, 2 million views in 4 hours. Sheesh.
I just found out that if you have 2 cars on your car insurance,
I want to react. I want to go to the part of the debate where, let's see here, where he plays the last clip.
I'd love to see the military part too, if we could. I thought that was concerning.
The military part.
Candace brings up his military service, and he says he never said he was in the military. That was
That's
his
right.
wife that said it. And I found that interesting because what did we just say happened at the end? He felt very comfortable lying when he was asked about the charges, and he quickly said, yeah, of course. But then I guess we're supposed to believe him on this weird exchange they had about the military. And I thought that was one of the biggest things that come out of this. And I didn't see anyone talk about it, you know, because it's not related directly to the Charlie Kirk thing. But to me, it is related in the sense of how does that happen? How does that weird exchange between them on that happen? How does that get mixed up, you know?
All right, man, where is it?
Like, I don't know about you. No one ever accidentally thought I was in the military. Did that happen to you?
No, never.
Okay, so just
Never.
So,
Yeah, I think this would be easier. Let's see.
but anyway, I didn't mean to jump in there, but it's
No, you good. I actually
think
kind of
it's-
need you to sort of, if you
Yeah.
can talk in this moment, because this is I need to find this.
I'd like to see what people say in the chat. Maybe if they know where that was, what I'm talking about within the stream, or if they thought the same as me. But
Let's see here. Let's see.
About
Yes.
if I'm just wondering, when you pulled out your phone just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication
Okay.
with a single person, not even my producers who are in there this whole time we were here. You want to check my phone? I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
You want to
should
see
do
it?
I'm
You
just
can.
curious. Yeah.
You can literally do that. Here you go. PBD, you're the moderator.
Okay.
Take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this debate
All right.
about the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me permission.
You
I'm
have
looking
full
I'm not gonna
permission to
give
go through
names.
my phone. I don't need to
So
cheat.
the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mhm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's
So
a compliment.
he's reading them.
You're okay. You're giving me permission. I'm
Yes.
just going to read 3 of them
Yes.
to 1132 because after that, I don't need to read it.
And you know their texts. Could have been Telegram. Could have been something.
All
like
I
that.
have is Signal. You can check that too. I only have Signal. Telegram I used in Russia,
Okay.
and that was it. I downloaded it for
I'll
Russia.
take your word for it.
Yeah.
Then-
I don't need to like. I
Okay.
deeply care about this case. I don't need to pretend
I get
to
it.
know
If you
stuff that
deeply
I
care
don't
about
know.
the case, I
Yeah.
just, I have my other question is about the steakhouse receipt.
You just said that you were done asking all your
Nothing, just so
questions.
you know,
Yeah.
nothing there.
There. I don't.
Yeah. Do you
need to
have the
that.
steakhouse receipts? My question.
I have said several times that I have never said I have the receipt for the steakhouse. I have said the person who's working on that story is going to be forthcoming.
Hold on. Oh, all right. This is the point where they're waiting for the. This is the point I want to. This has to be the point where they're waiting for the Candace clip. I mean, the Erica clip that she said about Candace. That Candace said about Erica.
You
Your
need the
team,
Jeopardy
Your team
thing.
told me they had it. So
That's what I heard. Okay. There we
come
go.
on, guys.
Did this crime. Okay? Because Lance
I can't hear
Twiggs
this. My
has
Ah, shoot, it's not. Did you want to see this part? Because if not, I'm gonna look for
No.
that other one.
yeah, I don't need to see it. I
Okay.
think maybe the other was in the beginning. But if it's too hard to find, because it's sure it's hard to find these clips. I just hope I'm describing the clip right because I never went back to watch it again, but that's how I remember it. Candace mentioned something about did you serve or did you train people in the army? Something to that effect. And then he switches and said, like, it was his wife that said it, is how I kind of remember it. And
Yeah.
it just seemed weird.
Let's see. It says Candace Owens, Drew Wilson,
Yeah.
military. Let's see.
I have in my notes, just while we have some dead air, I'll talk a little more. We talked about overwhelming. Another word he liked to use was compelling.
Right.
Because what does compelling serve? The same purpose as overwhelming. You hear compelling over and over again. it's just really interesting or coincidental kind of how some of those are powerful words if you don't understand what those words are trying to do to you.
I found it for you, Brian.
Oh, wow, you're quick.
I freaking found it for you, bro. And I apologize to the audience because I understand you all don't like this dead air. And I don't want to do that either. But y'all got to understand this is different. So I should be giving some grace because this is a 4 or 5 hour video. It's different. There are going to be clips for the next. Candace herself has content for the next 2 weeks because she can react and break stuff down. It's a lot of information and a lot of data. You can't just download her video and break it up into. It's not the same. But I found the clip, or at least enough of it, for our good old buddy Brian. So
I hope I didn't misrepresent it, but we'll see.
Let's see. Oh, sorry. I think this is it.
Back that's a possibility.
So you I think, have said on a platform that you were a gunsmith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And for how many years?
Many years.
For many years.
Mm-hmm.
You also said that you were an Army sniper.
I wasn't a sniper in the Army.
Okay.
And I never said that.
Sorry, your wife tweeted that you were an Army sniper.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 15 years ago, she said something.
Does it change 15 years later?
Okay, so yeah, that is what I said, right? Yeah, what I don't understand that. I don't understand how that would happen. How would your wife say that? Well, and why does 15 years matter? Right. I don't care if your wife said it 50 years ago. She's your wife. I asked earlier, has anyone ever accidentally thought you were in the military? Because no one has ever accidentally thought I was. How can that be?
As a colloquial term?
Yeah, I was never an Army sniper.
Okay. What did you do in the Army? Did you teach this? Then I corrected it and said you taught rifles in the Army?
No, I didn't teach rifle. No, I taught rifles as a private citizen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was an NRA instructor for many years alongside my gun shop.
He seems nervous.
But how do we interpret that?
Back that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, that's the end of the clip. So how do we interpret that?
We interpret it the way you just said it. That's what reason would your wife say that you've done? Because it's not even like she just said he served in the Army or he has military. She was very specific about what you did. Why would you lie about that, or why would she lie about that? And why would you come on a platform? This is a bit of a digression, but and say that all women are retarded. Your wife's a woman. That's wild. But let's get back to this. Why would she do that? And why it makes no sense. Makes no sense. It's one of those things like him admitting that he's a Freemason. I think he's getting ahead of the curve, just like I believe he was getting ahead of the narrative by admitting that he was commissioned to train TPUSA employees. Because I think he knows that people, and I said this earlier in the live, he know that you have the Brian the Auditors and your Zach from Wolves and Finance and many others like Leah from Leah Files, who are going to dig into your 1099s and your W-2s and your tax records. And they're going to find out if you work for them or not, dude. He knows that it's coming. There's too many people that follow these people like Candace and TPUSA. They're going to find out. So I think he's just getting ahead of the narrative. And in this case, I think he doesn't want that to come out, too much to come out about him, because it starts to paint a narrative about him.
You know, sometimes the smallest slip-ups mean the most. And that's why I harped on this. It can seem like nothing in the moment, but when you ask yourself, but how did this even happen? That's why you end up really harping on it.
Right.
Meaning, like, how did that confusion happen?
Great point.
Candace sure seems surprised. Isn't her reaction pretty telling?
Yeah.
Like, she's not so much pouncing on him. She's more confused, at least is how I view her reaction. It's like, wait, what? Like, so she in the moment kind of has the same, but
I agree. I want to see if this is the moment, because I really want to show this part with Erica. This is because this is one of the biggest points I want to make about this interview. I don't know if this is it though.
All right, Erica, you could just sit down with me, Erica. But we can do it this way.
This goes back to a previous claim that you made.
Yeah,
so I'm
sure.
bringing it up.
Straight to jail, straight to jail. For questioning, at least, Erica. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really.
The moment this started to play, I said, and I said this on live early on Teresa's channel, I said, this was a horrible decision. Unless he has a trick up his sleeve, but if he's about to do or say what I think he's about to say, but there's no way he'd do that. Why do I say there's no way he'd do that? Because it's not like he only saw this 15, 25-second clip. She never said that Erica needs to go to jail for committing a crime. She said that Erica needs to go to jail for questioning. Yes, Candace framed the sentence that way to make it sound more juicy and enticing for the beginning of her episode. Sure, you can have a problem with that or whatever. But she never claimed that Erica committed a crime and therefore should be arrested and go to jail and serve time. She simply said she needs to go to jail to be questioned. And she's going to explain why she said it. So I said, oh, he's playing this clip for a different reason. Because if he's not, he just dug his own grave. Let's see what he did here. This was what I was like, it's a humiliation ritual.
By the way, does she look concerned?
No. Well, it's hard to look at his face. He's making this face. I said this in the live stream. He has his resting face where I guess I don't know what this is with him. I don't know what that's supposed to communicate.
But to me, she looks happy here. Like she does not.
Oh, I thought you said does he
no,
look
I'm
concerned?
saying look at Candace. Does Candace look concerned?
Candace looks fine. She looks the way I was feeling. Yeah, like, dude, this is the worst thing for you to show because all this is, I'm like, this is a humiliation ritual because you're giving Candace the opportunity to make an incredible valid point, which is what? Spouses are always the number one suspect that are questioned. But what he decided to rebut with blew my mind. Take a listen.
You can spend $1 billion on influencers because this is all becoming increasingly inexplicable. You are asking me to be an idiot, actually, and I cannot do that for you. Someone once commented beneath this show that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies.
So straight to jail?
Yeah, so that's the show intro. And straight to jail is a monopoly term.
Okay. Like, so do not pass go.
Yeah.
Do not collect $200.
Yes, it's obviously tongue in cheek. And then we explain that actually I think that she should be brought in for questioning because of inconsistencies. So this is the exact episode when I started to think that she should be sat down and questioned. And I still believe that. I still hold the perspective that Erica should be sat down and she should be properly questioned.
Do you know that she hasn't been?
No, actually. That would be a great thing for the spokesperson of Turning Point USA to say that she's already
sat through. Why do they?
I mean, my guess would be she hasn't because they returned everything to her. Yeah. But
why do they owe you that though? Why do they?
Whoa, just real quick. This is I have to show. I'm on my show, so I get to say it because this. We cannot miss this, everybody. Please, we have to appreciate how all of a sudden Andrew holds the perspective of why do TP USA have to tell you anything? That's a very suspicious thing to say. Says the person sitting here with another podcaster so much, and you care so much about what she thinks, and you think she's so entitled to tell you what she thinks, or you're so entitled to know what she thinks and why she thinks what she thinks about this case that you're willing to pay her $300,000 for it. Yet when she's questioning an organization, there's another point in this debate or this conversation where he's asking why is he, and I think this is the moment he's asking why is she holding them to a standard and why do they owe it? Well, here's the difference. Candace Owens works for Candace Owens on a two-dimensional level. Candace Owens works for Candace Owens. Guess who Andrew Colvett and Erica Kirk were? TP USA, a 501c3. They have an obligation because it's a tax exempt organization that people donate to. So absolutely they are obligated to explain these type of things when the CEO has been quote unquote allegedly taken out. Yes, they deserve to know that. But here's the bigger issue. He thinks that it's a gotcha to say, well, do you know if she's been questioned? Well, here's the thing. No, I don't. But that helps me, Andrew. It doesn't help your point. Because if I don't know, because they haven't told us, so of course I would say she needs to be questioned because to my knowledge, she hasn't been. He thinks that's a gotcha because nobody's told me that she's been questioned or not.
Yeah.
They don't owe me anything. That's my show you're watching. Just, the clips that you're pulling are from my show. So if I want to say something on my show, I can say that.
Bingo.
say they owe me something. I don't think that's ever,
You
unless you
can,
have
but
another
if you
clip.
say like you need to be sat down for questioning and you don't even know if they haven't been, that's strange, right?
Do you know if they have been?
No, I have no idea.
That's great.
So you're just saying, what if they haven't been?
Yeah, if your
You're just kind of
entire
filling the air.
if your
with
entire thing
just
is
junk.
no, it's not junk. If the query is why is it that Erica Kirk's not being sat down for questioning, but you have absolutely no knowledge whether or not she's been sat down for questioning.
So therefore, she should ask the question. That makes no. This guy is I give him credit. Andrew Wilson is a good debater, and when he debates OnlyFans models, he's an even great debater. He's a great debater, good debater most times, great debater other times. This is like so amateur and so like I was shocked. I was shocked. I'm like, this is humiliation ritual, bro. Like you literally you're not making any great points here. I thought you had some trick up your sleeve, but he has nothing here. Oh, do you know if they've been questioned? That's it, bro. You paid $300,000 to just ask these questions?
Or not.
You said he's
what
a
that
great
does is
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You said he's a great debater, but is he? Because iron sharpens iron. So going after OnlyFans models is not iron sharpening iron. You know, squaring off with, and I hate to say because I don't, but like Ben Shapiro is clearly a trained debater.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Squaring off with him, or we mentioned Fuentes earlier, squaring off with guys that are clearly trained debaters would be iron sharpening. But OnlyFans, if anything, I have sympathy for them because they're clearly headed down a very demonic, dark path in life. They're not trying to be mothers. They probably don't have fathers. Half of them are all tatted up, looking disgusting. You know, like to want to debate and humiliate them, I have quite the opposite. A lot of sympathy for them. So I don't even know what that says about someone like a Myron or this guy that thinks it's great entertainment to just treat them horribly. Why not try and get them on a better path? And I'm not saying those guys don't do that because obviously I don't watch the show, but the clips that go viral sure don't paint a picture of these guys trying to speak to these women like, man, you guys are really, I don't know. I just don't, the only way I think of is sympathy for them. So I don't know, getting in, I don't know if you can call it a debate. Like talking to an OnlyFans model, is that really debate?
That's fair. I would agree that. Well, I mean, by definition, it is a debate, but is it a fair debate? No, it's not, because they're coming in that being the OnlyFans models from a losing perspective, in my opinion, but also or indefensible lifestyle. But this is what I will say: Myron Gaines, I'm very critical of him, and I will continue to be. I think that guy's an agent himself, but he does attempt in some cases to try to get the girls out of the lifestyle. But most times, no, he's just ridiculing them. He's reprimanding them and trying to go viral. And in this guy's case, he's a little bit more 70-30, 70-30 being 70%. He's like insulting them and just trying to like build a name off of it. 30% of the time, I would say he's actually trying to convince them to leave the lifestyle alone. I give credit where it's due. And I would also say Andrew Wilson, he talks to people outside of OnlyFans models and blue-haired or purple-haired left-leaning girls. Like he talks to like Owens Schroyer. He debated him the other day or like in the last few months. That was pretty entertaining, but he took the position of defending Epstein, that being Andrew Wilson here. And I didn't agree with him, but he accepts other debates. He debated Dave Smith. And according to the lady, I forget her name, forgive me, who I was on live with earlier this morning on Teresa BetterLife's channel, she did say that he debated Dave Smith, and I love Dave Smith. Dave Smith is the guy, by the way, who dismantled, and I am not being biased at all. I'm a very fair person. He absolutely destroyed Josh Hammer. Josh Hammer is another one of these suspicious people that was around Charlie Kirk. Don't know why Charlie would have a person like this around him unless they're one of his handlers or something. Very strange that Charlie would be around a person like that. But he was. Anyways, Josh Hammer agreed, don't know why he would do that, to debate Dave Smith. Dave Smith humiliated him in front of TPUSA's audience, which is the same event that Tucker Carlson gave that long monologue speech about why do we have, what do they call interest? What's another word for interest?
Usury?
Usury, thank you. Why usury is so high in this country and why taxes are so high and all this, that, and the third, and foreign policy, all this, that, and the third. Well, according to the lady I was on, one of the ladies I was on live with earlier today, she says that he debated Dave Smith, that being Andrew Wilson, and convincingly beat Dave Smith. So I have to go and check that out because Dave Smith is a really, really good debater.
Oh yeah.
So
that would be someone I would put in the Ben Shapiro category of
right.
That's a tough debate. Like if you're going, because it's not about whether you like these people. You have to be objective. Are they tough to debate against? Dave Smith, Shapiro. There's a bunch of guys that come to mind. So I didn't know he did that. So I take back some of what I said. I was under the impression he goes into it with OnlyFans people, but then I definitely take that back.
Heck yeah.
Creates an innuendo. It creates an inference. It creates out to the ethos that this should be happening because something's wrong here when you actually don't have the knowledge that anything's wrong at all.
I just think that my opinion is that she should be sat down and questioned.
Not sure if she hasn't been.
Yeah, and you're not sure if she has been either.
Right.
So, like I said, I feel like now you're just
see that went nowhere. Which is part. This is one of the parts of the debate where people say, "See, what was the point of this? He has nothing, she has nothing. You leave with no new information." But there was something that, on a two-dimensional level, something bigger at play that could be left away from this, and that is Candace is going to point out all the holes in this case.
Filling the air with nonsense, because Turning Point's like, we want
to my knowledge,
make sure that you go in there and you defend Erica. And I have to say, I don't think you've done an extraordinary job at that.
But I'm not here to defend Erica. The thing is, though, is like
that since 4 out of 5 of the clips that you had on the ready when we asked you guys ahead of time. I mean, I want to just assert how professionally we have dealt with this debate. As you can see, we have not planned any gotcha clips for Andrew. I expressed to him that what we were going to do was just to use people for fact checks, and because I might not remember something, or I do remember something and you're saying no, and that is what I think will register to people as very fair. We did not take out of context clips of Andrew to try to
expressly said that I was going to bring claims.
We did not.
Right?
No, when you said you were going to bring claims that you want me to speak to, you didn't say I intend on sitting you down with out of contexted clips to which we said to you before in an email. Any clips that you want to share with us, send it over. Let's assert a debate claim so that we can both be ready to respond to it. That's
not really what happened.
Well, what didn't happen?
The way that you're framing the exchange, that's not actually what happened. We were negotiating. It is true we negotiated out the claim itself, right? Which one's going to take which position. I wanted to make sure that I had at least an hour and a half on mine, and you got the time for yours to question me. We did. We got through your hour and a half on mine, roughly an hour and a half now on mine. That's basically how this went.
But in the beginning, I did not take an hour and a half to just pull out of context clips with Andrew. I actually debated the substance of what's going on in this trial and this hearing. And I do think that you fell short of that.
There's nothing hang on.
And
there's nothing here except holding you to account for your claims.
Yes or no. Well, we were supposed to be debating the case and whether or not there was overwhelming evidence.
These are your claims about the case.
No, you then admitted that now you're getting into another sphere and you want to talk about the transcendentals and things that I've said.
We got through,
and like 4 out of 5 of your clips are about Erica Kirk. So the general perception
I don't think 4 out of 5 even
is your Turning Point's horse.
Oh,
I think quite a few of them were. Was there 3
just made
Ericas
it up?
or 4?
So you're just making stuff up?
Can we get a count of how many were about Erica? I feel like
it was 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah,
3.
3.
I said 4.
Okay, 3 out of 5 instead of 4 out of 5.
4.
But those are extraordinary claims. That's which is why you're asking.
Okay,
about them,
well,
right?
Okay, but the point being is now you're veering into trying to get me to defend my opinions, and then you completely shirk responsibility when I point out yours. No, they're not claims. When you tweet claims. Erica is too retarded, you go, that's just whatever, and then you move on.
That's a claim that I'm responsible for the claim.
Well, earlier when I brought it up, you said that it was tongue in cheek.
Yes, sure. That's me responding to your criticism of the claim. That's all I'm doing here.
I was interested and
I'm happy to get into also the Patsy stuff now if you would like to.
Well, your team has one more clip they want to play from 7 days ago.
Sorry.
They got one more clip.
We were getting into the Patsy stuff and you stopped it, and I was explaining to you. Oh, they have one more clip. Okay, let's go.
They want to hit the minimum of 4 clips you were saying with Erica. So
100%.
This is absurd.
And I think this is the long pause from earlier.
And this is the one you're saying from 7 days ago.
Yeah, that's which we've already seen that. Now, there's something I want to point out here that's very important that people should not let go unnoticed as well. Notice in this debate that they spent a considerable amount of time talking about Candace's opinions and claims and conspiracies and theories or whatever. But what's most important that people should not forget is that there's an actual preliminary hearing, two-dimensional level, all right? There's an actual preliminary hearing that's taking place, and there's a trial that is expected to take place. We need to be discussing the facts of the case or lack thereof. That's what's most important because that's what exists. That's what they are claiming in a court of law. We're supposed to scrutinize it, and we're supposed to put it through the ringer. Does it hold up? That's what we're supposed to do. If you notice what Andrew Wilson wanted to do, no. Okay, we can spend a little bit of time talking about the actual case itself, which is what Candace was pointing out. And this is not a small claim. This is a really big deal. We're going to spend a smaller portion of this 4 hours I'm here talking about the actual facts of the case or the claims of the case and the text messages, and that they have metadata, which they didn't bring up. The fact that the picture, think about this. They didn't include the text messages from Tyler Robinson. Lance Twiggs' phone of him receiving these text messages from Tyler Robinson, of him allegedly confessing all these things in great detail. No. They didn't include the phone itself. They included a picture of the phone that showcased the text messages. Would you like to hear something else more convenient? The phone screen is cracked. Would you like to hear something even more convenient? It's particularly cracked right in the top left of the phone where you can't see the date or the time. Isn't that convenient? All these conveniences in this case. All right. We're not going to talk about the actual details of the case, or at least not very much. Let's spend maybe 15, 20% of this 4 hours I'm here doing that. But let's hurry up and get that over with. And let's spend 60% of the time I'm here talking about the things that you've said, Candace. Huh? The things that she said isn't in court. That's not what Tyler's fighting against. We're assessing what they're presenting, and we're saying, there's a lot of holes in this, bro. Leads us to believe that Charlie was set up. Something else happened. Or some of us other folks to believe that something else may have happened that day. But regardless, both of those theories are on the same side, as in to say what's been presented is baloney. And I hadn't ate baloney since like 2012. So I don't want baloney. I don't know about you.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
Any thoughts?
You pretty much said, no, I have nothing to add. I mean,
so
you nailed it there.
Okay. Andrew Wilson, I want to repeat this so people can understand the gravity of this. In an episode where he wanted to make sure he reiterated over and over and over that Candace Owens did not have very much evidence. In fact, he repeated that like 7-8 times in his closing statement. You said, well, He wanted to nail that home. He wanted to drill that point home. That's a bit strange. Your closing statement should be exhaustive, should be very, very comprehensive. And matter of fact, I wouldn't have had an issue if that was pre-typed as well. But instead, he just wanted to repeat over and over and over. Candace Owens has no claims for opinions she has on her podcast show. Like, why should people carry what she thinks? Okay.
In many ways, your closing is similar to your intro. Think about when you wrote an essay in school.
Right.
I would write the intro and the closing last, and I would write the body, and then I would go back and review the body of my essay and go, now I can write a really tight closing and intro, and they should both be similar because your conclusion, in a way, your intro is almost like a conclusion, right? It's laying out the thesis, and then your conclusion is restating how you got to your intro and your paper, and instead he didn't do that. He did, like you said, he kept it. No, I don't want to say name calling, but in a way it was almost that. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't have anything.
Very
but
impressive.
You're not addressing the substance.
Yeah, which is what she said as well. She said, I've noticed that you don't really want to talk about the substance of the actual case. Instead, you want to just talk about things I've said on my show about my suspicions and theories. That's weird. But it's also very impressive, bro, that you remember those sort of details from how we were taught and structured to.
That's just
That's very true. Like your conclusion should have a portion of the intro, and it just makes it so cohesive, and it comes together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But what I'm getting at here is just understand and appreciate how that's his standard. Evidence. Provide your evidence. He threw quite a few jabs at her about the fact that she hasn't revealed her sources. Even though, and I believe she mentioned this, she has revealed some of her sources along the way, that being Andrew Colvett being one of them, which is groundbreaking, that Andrew Colvett himself has been the person that was giving her some of that early information. She also made the great point that I don't have to necessarily reveal my sources if I have promised them that I'll keep them anonymous, because what I have shown my audience, and I have to give her credit because she's done this from a two-dimensional perspective, people. She did release the footage of the guy on the roof doing the lateral crawl. She did release the photos of inside the SUV. Now, on a 3-4 dimensional level, you can say, well, how did she get those photos? How did she really get them? But on a 2-dimensional level, she provided them. Never before seen footage. She did release most recently the photo of the guy in the garage. That looks nothing like Tyler Robinson.
No.
So it does build this rapport with her audience that they should at the very least trust her. She's good on her word. You can trust what she says. But the same person that's critical, being Andrew Wilson, is the same person that said you have to appreciate the hypocrisy. He then goes, but I will not reveal to you in this show at no point in time the text message I decided to include in my introduction that supposedly exists of Charlie Kirk texting TPUSA and his affiliates about being in fear that the left would unalive him, which, by the way, him stating that he was in fear of it doesn't mean that the left got a good chance to do it before somebody else could. But that's why you're supposed to explore it. If he was in fear of that, I agree that you should explore the left, right? But he's not holding himself to the same standard. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't have to provide any information. He does not have to provide proof of what he stated he has. Instead, he's going to do it for the same reason he says Candace do it, for clout, attention, and to be a grifter. He said he's going to wait until he's on his show. Then he'll release it. She says, if you don't mind me asking why. And then he told her, well, you gotta keep people on their toes, right? You gotta find some reason to get them to come. Like, what? You just going to admit that after just accusing her of doing the same thing? Wild.
Did Charlie Kirk ever send that text to the police? Did he ever send that to any intelligence community? I mean, clearly Charlie Kirk is connected enough. If he's that concerned, why are you sending it to nobodies? And when I say nobody, I don't say that demeaning Andrew Wilson. I mean nobody in the sense of protection. Right. Andrew Wilson can't protect Charlie, neither can Candace Owens if you would have sent that to her. So it's strange that this text we keep hearing about, he could have reached out to Trump. Trump is connected enough, and someone could have gotten Charlie Kirk's security. That's the benefits of being in the club. That's the benefit.
Brian, you take him into the 3-4 dimensional perspective, man, which is like that gets me to speculating, because you are absolutely right. If that man was really in that much fear for his life, why would you not send it to higher regard? I don't understand, but
you're multi-millionaire 10 times over, as we know, because I brought out the financials. So you have the means to get yourselves to do something. And it just feels like this goes what we talked about on the last stream. What a way to keep us in left versus right, where this debate literally starts with left versus right. It starts with a message that the left was going to take him out. Why is that? And what are the odds that it's the day before? How could that even happen, that you send this text the day before and the next day the left takes you out? To me, if I'm the cops, I want that phone instantly now.
Yeah, but not only that, I'm questioning. Yeah, I'm also questioning if it was even Charlie Kirk that sent the text.
True. I didn't even think of it. Yeah.
It makes me question if Charlie Kirk, because why all of a sudden just the day before you believe the left is going to do it? Do you have does the left have direct access to you where they can threaten you at home? Like, what was so special about the day before with the left? You don't interact with them. You interact with them in public at your events. Is there something I'm missing? Are they at your house? Do you see them? No, you The people you do have access to is another group of people with a different, with a different political persuasion.
Yeah, it's very weird. And let's not forget, two weird things happened. The left, and when I did the financials, Candace then came back after with that email. Remember on 9/2, Charlie sends an email about the Doge audit.
Oh,
right
yeah,
before.
yeah.
So now we have two weird things in terms of timing. Right before 9/10, we have this text about the left, and then he woke up about all the financial stuff. Maybe. What do I know? But it's just, you have to think of timing and go, that's pretty something. That's something.
Look, I agree. I speculated that he was going to try to come in with some new information as a gotcha. That's not a gotcha. You can't present something that nobody's ever seen and then hold it against them. No, what you do is you present it to them, see how they react, and if they're not consistent and they don't pivot or adjust accordingly, then you hold it against them. But you can't present something to somebody that they've never seen, never knew existed, and say, see, because of this new information you never saw, you should have definitely knew that such and such was guilty. That's not how logic works, bro. And so for me, I guess my final thoughts surrounding this debate. This is just our initial reaction. I think it was a humiliation ritual. I believe that Andrew Wilson decided to follow through with this. I believe there's some merit. to the claim that this may have been Freemasonic for him, because it's not just the fact that he lost the debate. That happens. Nobody's perfect. He performed horribly. All right. He was not witty like he usually is. He wasn't boastful. He wasn't condescending. He was arrogant in some ways. I guess you can apply some of those words here and there, like especially the part where he was like, because you don't know any of the charges yourself. You got a little carried away. But majority of the debate, he was a bit more reserved, a bit more informationless, if you will. Like, where's all the information, bro? Where's all the strategy? Where's the brilliance? What happened to him? Blew my mind. And because he performed so terribly, it just makes me question, was he supposed to perform terribly? You got people doing damage control for him. Not going to work. Not going to work, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the end, the real winners are the big club, like we talked about. And I know that's not so much two-dimensional, but if you just think about it, the more we've gone through this on the stream, it does feel like those are the real winners here. Whoever we consider the big club, whoever, really is the puppet master, clearly, I think, won this, because this is all everyone's talking about now.
Right.
When you can monopolize views, that's huge. That's why I said we shouldn't look at views in a vacuum. We shouldn't look at just what Candace did. We should look at the total YouTube views related to this. And it was massive. That's a way to monopolize views. That's a way to herd everyone in one direction, herd us all into this left, right. Who did Charlie? Was it Robinson? Was it that country? Do we really win as people? That's why I started with, I felt like I was the loser, only because I don't think I got a return on my investment. Right. If I invested 4 hours, I don't feel like I left with a return on that.
Yeah, like, Brian, but here's where I give you not even pushback, a different perspective. Everybody's not Brian the Auditor. That is to say, Brian the Auditor, Didi, we're going to go into that debate for the most part looking for certain things, looking to take away certain things. This is not meant to be disrespectful, but what was the term you used earlier? Not low IQ, but low information.
Low information.
Most people are not going into that debate to have their minds changed. Some people are. Most people are going into that debate. They don't think on 3 and 4 dimensional levels, Brian. Most people are going into that debate for entertainment. And guess what they got? Overwhelmingly, there's that word, entertained. They were entertained. They got a lot of clips. They got a lot of moments. They got a lot of back and forth. You got some contentious moments. You got things to talk about. You got people to defend. You got people to go after. Oh, it's entertainment at its peak. When you have, what is it, 400, 500,000 people collectively, just between the three of their channels, oh, boy.
It was way over 4 because I.
Oh, boy.
Like I said, yeah.
Mission accomplished. On a 4-dimensional level, mission accomplished. On a 2-dimensional level, mission accomplished. You are able to serve up this meal, up this platter to the masses, and they ate it and licked the plate.
Maybe part of the goal is dumb down these debates. Like, for example, why did they install Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp? Dumb down sports debates. I'm not of the belief they're both that stupid. It's clearly they're playing a role. Be this dumb sports fan that views sports in the dumbest, most binary way. Did you see LeBron? He hit this shot like nothing at a deeper. What if now that's where we're headed here? Because as I said earlier, I think an economic debate on the dollar, maybe 1,000 people would watch it. I'm making up numbers, but it wouldn't be 400,000.
It would not.
It would be, but which one is more important if we're being objective? A financial debate is far more important than what happened to Charlie Kirk. And I don't mean any disrespect to him. I have to be honest. It's just clear because it affects us more. Charlie Kirk does not. So there's so many debates I could think of, not just the finance debate, geopolitical, what's going on, you know where. There's so many things quickly that come to mind that deserve more views. And you have to wonder, is part of the plan here just dumb everyone down, bring down the vibration, bring down the intelligence level? And this now feels like a normal quote debate when really it isn't. Because like you said, we would like to go deeper, which I wasn't thinking. Why I said I didn't get value out of it, because I wasn't thinking what you said. Like, yeah, that's not the goal. The goal is not to serve Brian and Didi. That's not who they're serving in these debates. And so goal accomplished.
Per usual, you give me certain perspectives that I even hadn't considered or I wasn't considering. And then I always feel, that's right, Didi. Why weren't you thinking about it from their perspective? And that was a great analogy. Sports, they put some of the silliest people, and those are the ones that rise to the ranks. I'm like, oh, I like you, Stephen A. Smith. Like, so for example, Max Kellerman. Do you know who Max Kellerman is?
Oh, yeah, because far more analytical. Like when he would explain something, it was X's and O's. You know, I'm not a football expert, but hey, they ran a 3-4 defense and, you know, they brought in the safety. When Stephen A does it, he just yells stats. Right? That's why I brought up LeBron. LeBron was 3 for 5.
Entertainment.
But what does that mean? He was 3 for 5. Why was he 3 for 5? Whereas a Max Kellerman would, but who's going to get more views? Because the system doesn't want that type. Interestingly, what is Max Kellerman? His background. So it's funny that even he didn't get benefit from the system because he's you know what.
That's what he is. And not only is he you know what, but he's left leaning. You know what?
True, which is really what they like, and they still use Stephen A to crush him.
I'm impressed. You knew that.
What, that he's you know what?
Yeah, that you even knew this much information about Max Kellerman. It's just one thing to have conversation with people, but when you can delve from different topics, sports, entertainment industry, politics, and talk about specific peoples and their backstories, it's impressive. Even you are known for that, but in this, I've never really talked sports with you in particular. Yeah. So Max, hearing you talk about Max Kellerman, who also used to be a rapper, crazy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, a rap, like he used a rap.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, to me, that's the proof. Like, they don't want a true analyst. He is someone that's going to explain sports at a much deeper level, at a very, like I said, analytical would be the best way to say it. Anytime I saw a clip from him, it wasn't him yelling a stat. Stephen A is more like an actor. By the way, why is Stephen A on General Hospital?
Right.
Because he's an actor.
Right.
So he's memorizing lines. He just has to yell out the stats. And I think that's headed to the political, if not already here. The Fox News, there's a show. It's similar to that. The name will hit me. And it's just like that, where they just take two people that appear different and they're just throwing back. Or Piers Morgan now with the show that Dave Smith is always on. You know, like, yeah, now Dave Smith brings intelligence to that show, but a lot of the other people, it's same thing. It's just this like low information, and it's gonna, if we're not careful, it's gonna trickle down to us. They're gonna MK Ultra us to be that same way.
This is what I'll say before I forget. This is very important. I meant to say this at the very beginning. I did not, because many people are not gonna care. I've already lost 400 people, and I wish those 400 people could have saw it or heard this. make sure you're paying close attention to politics, to the economy, to just the world news here over the next 2 to 3 days. Because I do believe that there is possible that this was used as a distraction for something else. And that's how they typically do it. Like, by the way, as a reminder, the day that everything happened with Charlie Kirk, they passed those laws about the Epstein files. And they passed some of those more Zionist laws all at the same time. And very few people knew about it. They were doing that in Congress. Pay attention to what is happening in the world news over the weekend, because I believe they're going to use the momentum of this interview. Yes, they do that. They also do that with sports. We'll talk about this in another video, but LeBron James going to the Philadelphia 76ers, I do not believe it's an accident for the reasons I've already covered on Patreon. I've also covered it here on YouTube. Link is in the description. If you care for deeper videos and extended videos you can find here on YouTube, link is in the description to the Patreon. But I've also covered it on YouTube, Kobe Bryant and the LeBron James connection, which I'm sure many of you all have seen other places as well. Well, it gets a little bit deeper because LeBron James, you got to remember, we are also at the 250th birthday of the United States of America. And I believe there's something that's going to happen specifically surrounding LeBron James and the red, white, and blue Philadelphia 76ers as a repentance, because, LeBron James is a shield. Not only did he protest for the Black Lives Matter nonsense that was happening, the Marxist movement that was happening a few years ago, but he was also protesting for Zionism. For those of you that don't know, LeBron James is a Zionist, even though he's very uneducated on these topics and he's not the most intelligent person. He is an agent, or he is a puppet, and they will use their puppets. And I think he will be rewarded in one way or another with championships. But I'm digressing. But the point is, pay attention, because they use these moments to do other things. And so that's very important to keep your eye on that, because we don't know what will come from this. Also pay attention to Andrew Wilson and his career, because I think this will be very interesting to see what takes place after this conversation. A lot of people feel like it was pointless. It served no interest. I understand why many people feel that way, but maybe it will serve an interest and we just don't understand yet until much later.
So to your point, you have to pay very close attention to sports. Do you remember who won the Super Bowl right after 9/11?
No, but don't say the New England Patriots.
Patriot. What is Patriot?
The fact that I don't even know that, but I was able to guess just because I know, first and foremost, they're red, white, and blue, but also they're like America's team in some way because of Brady.
Patriot.
Crazy.
It couldn't be the Dolphin, right? After 9/11, when 3 buildings come down, and we have to be very patriotic and we have to go die in the Middle East. It can't be the Dolphin. It can't be the Seahawk. It's got to be the Patriot.
I got to put the chat up. I just want to see on screen when I watch this back what people were saying in real time at this part of the conversation. That's very good point, bro.
Like,
very
you've
good
got to
point.
be locked into sports, but not as a sports fan, as a sports, whatever you would call what I just said. I don't know what the term for that would be, but that's how you've got to view. Because I thought of it as you were explaining LeBron. That's why it came to mind. I'm like, oh, I have the exact same sort of thing. I didn't know much about the LeBron stuff you were saying, but I remembered. Reason why I remember the Patriot, in real time, I called it out. And people at the party I was at were laughing at me. I'm like, no one thinks this is weird. The Patriot won the 9/11 Super Bowl. Oh no, there's Brian again saying, I'm like, okay, I guess I have to be this weird
person. Right. Because outside of these spaces, we're that person.
Everyone else is smoking weed, drinking beer, eating chips. I'm the weird one, not doing any of that. And yet I identify, but sports is huge, and not for the reasons people think it's huge. It's huge because it can also shift how you think. It can harvest your energy. As we said about Kobe, when Kobe dies, part of me died. I have to now walk around mopey, woe is me. So that's an energy harvest. That's why there's 30 teams and 29 lose every year. That's 29 energy harvesting, and they make a deal. They'll let one win because one fan base gets to celebrate, but 29 get to lose. So if you look at the sum, what's the net? That's millions of people lost. Millions of people are upset. Millions of people drank that night because they're so angry their team lost. Energy harvest. But worst of all, it's the parasocial that I talked about last time. You create a psychological relationship with someone you never met, and that person can manipulate you in ways you're not ready for. As you said with LeBron. LeBron doesn't have to outwardly be a Zionist. He's subtly a Zionist. And you have no idea. Stephen A is a Zionist. What did he tell black people to do during COVID?
and what did Stephen A. Smith just recently admit? One of the most humiliating things you can ever say as a man, says that not only did he, and I'm not making fun of him, I would never make fun of another human because this happened to them. After he shamed and pressured people to get the jab, and we weren't buying it. Many of us were not buying it. There was many that were. But I can't blame everybody because a lot of people were afraid. It was unprecedented, uncharted territory. But what did Stephen A. Smith just most recently admit? He admitted that not only did he get the jab, he got, what is it called, the booster shot twice. And guess what? Not only did he still get COVID, he almost died.
Which, if you listen to him tell that story, he actually made it up. Because there's a longer clip, and it's the most preposterous story I ever heard. He's in the hospital. I could send you the clip if you want to hear it. I mean, afterwards, I don't have it handy enough. So he's on the Howard Stern show, and Howard picks apart this a little more and wants more detail. He's dying of you can't make this up. He's dying of COVID in New York. He has a girlfriend in California. She hears about this. Somehow that night, she goes to the airport, gets on a plane, flies to New York because she says, Steven, if you're dying of COVID, I'm dying of COVID. And she gets on the plane. She gets to New York. She then gets COVID, according to him, and they're both in the hospital together. Then when they're in the hospital, the doctor says, Steven, you're going to have to consider calling your family. If these antibiotics don't work, it's trouble. They work. He gets discharged at, get this, I think it's 3:30 in the morning, 3:33. Now, I've been in the hospital in New York because I'm from the area. I'm not saying never. They don't discharge overnight unless it's like an extreme case, because there's liability reasons. There's not the right staff. Like typically it's either in the morning or like mid-afternoon. I mean, I'll never say never, but I'm telling you, it's unusual. Any nurses in here can back me up that you get discharged in the middle of the night. It's just, think about it. Why would they do that? Why in the middle of the night would you get and how does this woman get on a plane from California that night? She gets the first flight out. It's not like he had cancer and he's about to go into hospice. Right. He has COVID, and she has the whole thing. The whole point of this is all these people are actors. They tell these preposterous stories. Look, some of it probably is true. And let's even say all of it's true. Every famous person somehow always has a story that's just so unbelievable that, mathematically it could be true, but it's always like, what are the odds? Right? Like Tupac gets shot 3 times in the head, twice in the groin, twice in the leg, and then he gets out of the hospital the next morning. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of all that? Right. This is stuff that's just, but we have to believe it, and we have to be more locked in on sports was my original thing. And like I said, not for the reasons people think, like locked in. What are these athletes telling us to do? What are the agendas are they pushing? What are they, the colors, as you mentioned, the blue and the red, all that, the numbers. I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron ends his career where his points average is 33. I wouldn't be shocked if that's how his career ends. Or some kind of 33. Right. Maybe, I don't know, assist or maybe 3.3 or steal, because they love this. They just love using sports and within this numeric, and they know most people can't see it. So it's fair game. It's safe for them to do that.
I agree. Any final thoughts? Or did you want to stick around for the super chats? Didn't want to keep you if you didn't.
Well, I saw some questions that related to me, so I can stick around. I don't know if they were super chat questions. Speaking of substance, one point people were saying, "Oh man, Brian's really cooking what he was saying," and then someone writes, "He's ugly," and then someone writes, "He has a face for radio." And why I mention that is because notice how they didn't mention the substance of what I was saying. So I if anything, I think that's telling, and I'm glad you call me ugly because you didn't call me a liar.
Oh, that's a bar.
Just like when I did my Turning Point audit, you people talked about my voice or my green background and my hair. You didn't mention that I got anything wrong. Why not?
All right.
So you focus on other things. On my hair, okay, or my glasses are crooked, or just really stupid things that show to me I think are great because it shows you don't have anything to hit me with. So you hit me on these things that, I'm old now in my age, so talking about looks is not affecting me. I'm sorry to break it to someone, nor if his glasses are crooked. That's not,
Yeah,
substance
I don't call everybody trolls. I call those type of people trolls because somebody on the live stream earlier today on Teresa's channel, they go, I see it in the chat. I never acknowledged it, but they go, Didi is a shield for Candace Owens. I'm like, see those people. You have to, bro. I'm sitting up here fighting with who I believe are in a cult when it comes to Candace. I'm fighting against those people on a bi-weekly basis. Like I'm wrestling and arguing with those people in the comment section because they think I'm a little too hard on Candace. And then you got people who think, I'm not hard enough. No, I'm just going to make sure like my thoughts are my own. I'm objective. I'm consistent, and I try to be as best as I can be to my human ability. All right. So those people are trolls because when you have a YouTube channel and there's a person that's being requested for you to bring back onto your channel who don't own your channel, that's how you know you are the man or the woe man. When you are being requested and you don't even have a channel yourself, that makes it even more of a flex. They can't find you something. It's not like, man, Didi, you should collab with such and nah, this person ain't on the internet. They saying you should go get this man out of his rocking chair. He called himself old. You should go and get this man out of his workplace and bring him back onto your YouTube channel for our entertainment or our enjoyment or for our benefit, or so that we can learn something else, so we can enjoy your videos and we can get a different experience. That says a lot about the person. So when a person come on and talk about a person's looks, hey, but what about what they said?
That's why I view it as a positive, which sounds counterintuitive. The more you harp on how bad I look, the more I know I'm saying something that is probably correct because you're not mentioning it. It's the oldest tactic in the book, try and bring them down another way. But it's funny you mentioned about people asking about me coming on. In one of the earlier videos, we posted my email, and I don't think we've posted it since. And I still get emails. When are you going back on? And I never know how to respond because I don't know if it comes across weird if I say, well, it's not my channel. So I don't know when, I can't be pestering someone like when it's not your channel, you sit back, and when the host invites you on, you go on. That's how I approach it. It's like when you were a kid, your mother would rip you if you invited yourself over your friend's house.
All right.
If I said, hey, Didi, can I sleep over tonight? And my mom found out, I'd be in trouble. Like that was the biggest. You never invited you. It was called imposing. You never impose. So I view like YouTube kind of similar. Like you don't like impose your will. Like, hey, put me on.
Which, by the way, Brian has always had an open invitation, open door to this channel, as I've told him, and you all can be on the lookout here in the next week or two, as Brian and I will be collaborating on some more research that he's done that I think will not only be relevant but very, very important. And so he shot it to me and showed me some of the early makings of the work, and I was like, definitely, bro. definitely. But like your video about not only, it was a couple of videos, the video about Donald Trump Jr. and his quote unquote potential fraud work or corruption, right? But also the video about your work on illegal immigration and the funds around it, which to this day I say is, in my opinion, it's a top 5 video ever on this channel. But if you look at the views on the channel, you think it's one of the least not requested, but the least desired videos on this channel. But that's also not true. It's the algorithm. It's the algorithm that I'm fighting against, because in other words, if you let another 3.5 million, let's just put a big number out there, people just at least see the thumbnail, let it come across their timeline, what percentage of that 3.5 million you think was going to click on it? And whatever number you come to, I bet it's higher than the view count is currently at. So it's all about who you're exposed to. And that video or videos, to Brian's earlier point, the videos with substance are typically the ones that are least recommended. And every now and again, one will slip through the crack. And you have like the example given earlier by Stephen A. Smith. Some of the knuckleheads, some of the ones with the biggest antics. Sometimes you get antics and you get some intelligence and some substance from Stephen A. every now and again. But Max Kellerman, didn't always agree with him, as you will never always agree with any human. Max Kellerman, I just felt like I was in class a lot of times when I was with him. Like it was so substance. It's like, man, I felt a little bit more knowledgeable about how sports work when he got done. And then Stephen A. Smith will go, and all I got from him was more about, I've been around the sport, I know people. It was more of that, instead of like substance. So
yeah.
All right,
But
let's get into it.
We can do some chats.
Yeah.
So people asked me, oh, sorry, I don't mean to, but just quick, because I
Yeah,
saw
you got
a
it.
lot about when am I starting a channel. So I recorded a few videos. The issue is when you have the day job, it's finding time to do the edit.
Oh yeah,
As
yeah.
you know, right? So I did what I think is a great video on all the deaths within MLK's inner circle. His nieces, nephew. I mean, it is insane. When you see what I've put together, I don't think someone's going to be like, hey, just a weird coincidence. Not what I have, not a weird coincidence. So that's one thing I did. I did another thing where I've examined psychological studies that have been done, and I compared it to, well, how are they using that against us today? So if we take a study that was done in the 60s, think about it through today's lens. How can they take these results and weaponize that against us? And it's very eye-opening. So I've done that. I don't know if you know, we have a governor in Texas that was paralyzed. He claims he was jogging and an oak tree fell and hit him.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Wouldn't an oak tree kill you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have some of the details on that, which I think is very interesting.
Is this recent?
Oh no, he said it happened in the 80s. That's why he's in a wheelchair. He was jogging in the rain, and an oak tree. Keep in mind what I said. Oak tree falls, hits him, somehow hits his legs. His back is, and he's paralyzed. Anyway, it's just a weird story. And so things like that.
Like, how did it only hit your legs? Like, were you sitting? Were you laying down?
Yeah. Anyway, things like that I like to look into. Things I just find interesting. So I have a lot of stuff. I really want to start the channel soon. It's just, it's hard when you have a job because you get home, by the time you eat, now you have to edit. And it's just between doing the research, because my videos aren't videos where I just turn on a camera and talk about my life. So the first work is all the research. I don't know with the research. I have to shoot the video and then edit. I don't want to say I'm complaining. It's just, it is hard when there's only so many hours in a day and most of your day is spent working. So I would love to start the channel soon. The videos are done at least. So anyway.
Oh, I know how tough it is. I did YouTube and Instagram part-time.
Well, you were working, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. For like 3.5, 4 years or whatever. So,
yeah. But
all right. Thank you, Gina. Good to see you, Gina, as always. I'm glad she was able to catch this live. Andrew Wilson asked about her phone, and she had actually put up a tweet. Nerves had him shaking from start, and at the end, he'd broken out in a sloppy sweat. He was probably because he wasn't able to smoke his cigarettes. Probably needed a whiskey and bingo. Yeah, bingo, exactly. That's crazy. Gina and I kind of think alike at times too. That's crazy. I thought it was hilarious. Way more class than him. Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Shout out to Teresa. This is the channel I was on earlier. Everybody going to give Teresa a Better Life a follow. I think especially as it pertains to the Charlie Kirk case. I think you all will really like her content. As a reminder, she's one of the individuals that went to the preliminary hearing and was fighting against the narrative that they showed this 4K footage. It was her, Bill, I believe it's Billy Webb, and then it's Brandy. All right. So go and show her some love. Link is in the description. Shout out to Emery. Thank you for the $5. Can we expect Erica Kirk to publicly forgive Andrew for his honest? That's a good point. I doubt she'll do it.
But remember, looking at it 2-dimensional or 4-dimensional, Erica could be thrilled because we don't know what the true purpose of today was.
Right. Yeah.
So it may not be an apology. It may be quite she may be on the phone with them saying, Andrew, you did exactly what you needed to do. We don't know that. I'm just saying there's more possibilities than Andrew failed. That's why I like, Didi, how you started with saying we're talking in a 2-dimensional, because you have to say that to show if it's 2-dimensional, yes, Andrew bombed, failed. If it's 4-dimensional, he may have hit a home run.
Yep.
They may be absolutely thrilled.
Facts.
Because we don't know what the intention of putting him out there was. At least I don't know.
Agreed. And I think in due time we will tell, because they always have to tell on themselves. In due time, we'll be able to tell, which is part of the reason I wanted to give it at least a few days before I give my 3-dimensional perspective on the debate. Sports Nana, thank you for the $50 super chat. I love your work. Thank you. And I appreciate you for viewing the video and supporting. Okay. Oh yeah, there's the quote I started earlier. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. Merch, please. Would it be wrong if I merged that? I don't know. I might get that on a t-shirt. I think I might get that on a t-shirt. That's a quote. That's a quote, man. That's a quote. Thank you, Gina, for the $20. And Andrew Wilson thought Candace Owens was as dumb as the girls. He's used to debating. He did think that, and he also has said this before. Like I said in that video where he was ranking her, he says that he called her stupid. He didn't say that she wasn't. He said she's stupid. He said she just happens to have a following. I was like, you can be critical of a person, but you're just not being honest here, and I don't respect it. You're not being honest to say that this woman is a C- conservative influencer. She just so happens to have a large following, who are, by the way, mostly women, which is something you're holding against her because she is not able to rally a more diverse, if you will, audience. Strange. He used to quote unquote debating. To me, it looked like a humiliation ritual film. Bingo.
Yeah.
She gets it, but I'm not surprised she gets it. Or he, Tatum Fuentes, and more, bingo, are all being blackballed with secrets. I said, what's going on within government right now? And I'm just curious what you think. He said he wasn't an Army sniper. It just makes me wonder if the guy's being blackmailed. If we were to entertain that theory, could it have been something from extending from the military, which is why he's trying to make that separation? Because it's again, back to your point, Brian, very strange that your wife, the internet is crazy. They're going to find stuff on you fast. The fact that they found something your wife said 15 years ago that you cannot deny, and you're now having to say, I don't know why it's your wife. Why would she say that about you, bro?
And remember, I think one of the videos I in passing mentioned Jack Posobiec, and that's how we got on the point of
Right.
Why do all these influencers have this similar back? And you showed the Laurel Canyon book the other day, because it all stems from that. And it's something that just is always worth it's just worth keeping in the back of your head or the front of your head as to this is a weird pattern.
Right.
And patterns shouldn't be ignored. It doesn't also mean guilt. It just means it's notable. It's a pattern. Like, because I started to come to the conclusion that maybe the military isn't really this. And it's these operations, these psychological, are really more done there, and the disguise is, the military is this, but it really feels more like, no, it's actually not. That's how it's sold to us. But behind the scenes, that's the true psychological operations are happening there. And I think there's probably even enough evidence to start to show when you dig into who's at the core of these things. That's why there's a term military intelligence. When I was young, that didn't even make sense to me. I thought, no, military is you're in camouflage, you're in the fields, like military intelligence. I go, what does that mean? I had no idea what it meant.
In my opinion, you can only come to a conclusion like that. That is that's going to go over so many people's heads, Brian. You can only come to a conclusion like that after you've been in this space for a while. After you've seen enough things, you've noticed a few things, you've analyzed, and you've done some studies and research and put together some papers that your thoughts start to evolve a little bit, and you're like, well, maybe they've sort of progressed a little bit, and they're a little bit more advanced now. And maybe our idea of the military, there's a whole branch of it that is street clothes. Some may be a quote unquote influencer. Some may be cosplaying as a freaking police officer, or one may be cosplaying as somebody's wife, or husband who has an important position in something. Yeah.
Ask yourself, how would you control 350 million people?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it have to be deeply psychological, where it is nearly impossible to see? How do you do it? How do you think 330 million, whatever the real number is, how do you control that? It's not as straightforward as, just through the media. No, because what about the group of people that say the media is full of crap? Then how do we get to them? Well, we get to them at the next layer. We create the Joe Rogans. We create the, quote, independent media. Okay, but then what about the people that say they're BS? Okay, well, we have a whole nother layer. I brought up QAnon on the last thing. That's what I mean. Like, that's where it would make sense. This military intelligence apparatus would come in. Who created the internet? Am I supposed to believe there's a bunch of just tech guys in their basement?
All right.
That doesn't make any sense. Of course, that's not who created the internet. It's just the same thing. And then they use that, and now you're surrounded by this. and you're almost like in a hypnotic state. You can't see who's might be real or not because it's so confusing. It's all these brilliant actors saying all this stuff, and you're left in a fog.
All by design.
All by design, yeah.
Thank you, Irina, for the $20. Thank you a lot. Appreciate you for supporting the work. They are all on the same quote-unquote team. Candace's show just elevated PBD and Andrew. This is all a circus. What you can deny from this super chat is that this absolutely did that. It's interesting to me because I'm glad this person bring this up, because what I found interesting is that PBD live streamed it, even though from what I've seen, they haven't been following this case either, not publicly. But now, because there's a debate at hand, they see an opportunity, they live stream it to their. Maybe it makes more sense for Andrew as of lately. He's been talking about Candace and Baron and the crew, but PBD has sort of been like wishy-washy on the topic, but they live streamed this. Weird. And then, like I said in the live stream earlier today, if you don't give him anything else, Patrick Bet David is a businessman. He was speaking about the market. He's always talking about the market, and he's always talking about if I was in a business deal and we were closing in on a deal and there's a pivot. I'm like, bro, we don't want to hear about that. But he made sure to do it again today, but he did it in the sense of the channels. Right now, we're sitting at about 225,000 live viewers. If we can get that number to like 300,000 or 400,000, I was like, bro, he's such a businessman. It works in their favor, but yeah.
And there's another thing happening here. I've mentioned this before. It's worth studying pro wrestling psychology, because the psychology that's used in wrestling is exactly here. And I'll give you just a quick example. In the 90s, Vince McMahon had a lot of trouble getting The Rock over, Dwayne Johnson.
From where?
They wanted to, the actor Dwayne Johnson, he was The Rock in wrestling.
Oh, yeah. You said he had a hard time getting him over.
Getting him over means getting the fans to care about him.
Oh,
Instead,
I didn't
it was
know that.
apathetic. Oh yeah, apathetic, meaning you could hear a pin drop when he came out, because he was corny. Anyway, long story short, Vince could not get him over. That means the fans were not cared either way, right? And so there's a term called the rub. So what does Vince do? Puts him with Austin. He turns The Rock heel, which means Rock becomes a bad guy. Instead of the smiley good guy, he becomes a bad guy, and Vince puts him with Austin, meaning they start feuding. The rest is history. Within 6 months, The Rock's the biggest thing in wrestling. It's called he got the rub. And so if you want to give Andrew Wilson the rub, or you want to give Patrick Bet David the rub, or fill in the blank name, you put them here, and they get the rub. They get the push. They get the boost.
Because they went after the big bad guy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's funny when you understood wrestling psychology and then you look at the way things happen in the world. By the way, people don't know it's Donald Trump's best friend is Vince McMahon. And who's Vince McMahon? The godfather of pro wrestling. It's kind of strange.
Who has been accused of some Epstein things himself, by the way.
That's similar to what I'm saying kind of happened here. It's like, let's get these guys to rub. And now Bet David benefits from this. His next show is going to have more viewership. Andrew Wilson going to have more. It's not just Candace that benefits. Anyone involved. Joe Rogan just talking about this now. Yeah. So to this person's point, that's part of the strategy. Yeah. It's
totally agree. Very well said.
Bring up the influencer class.
Right. Thank you for the $5, Gina. Didi, I just sent super, and then you said humiliation ritual. Exactly. I figured you would, although I need to leave in a few minutes. Hi, Brian. Love you both.
Oh, thank you.
Heck yeah. Boom, boom. Okay. Appreciate you. Well, there's Gina again. Thank you, Gina, for the $50. Gina, I've told you now.
Oh, wow.
I told you now.
So, yeah.
I told you. Please, Brian, take this super chat. Oh, this is for you. Brian won't. I will happily send it to him.
What?
I will happily send it to him whenever he tells me that I can send it to him and let me know how to send it to him. I'll send it to him.
So when I quit my job and go full time here, I'm going to need these super chats.
All right. And I'll be sure to send whoever.
I always say right now, because I have income, I'm just not here for the money. So I appreciate the offer, but it's just, but definitely when I don't have income, I will for sure.
And I'll do everything in my power, bro, to try to funnel as many people over to your channel.
I don't know how much longer I can do the work grind. I have such a desire to do my own content,
thing.
you know, because of all the research I've been sitting on. And
But like I told you, Brian, I told you, like, I hear what you're saying, what you need to be doing. Like, if it's for safety purposes and all of those reasons, if you're still there, then disregard what I'm about to say. But if you've sort of gotten past that, or you've figured that part out, if you are leaning more so towards yes, and it's just a matter of when, you need to start a channel and at least give people, I don't care if there's nothing there, build that following, man. Post a video. It don't matter if you post once every 3 months. They're going to be fiending as long as they get what they say, that crack. If they get that good substance, bro, and it's fire, that's what they want. They're going to support you. And then what's going to happen 3 years from now, nobody's going to care that you used to post once every 3 months. In fact, they're going to love the evolvement of your channel. They're going to say, Brian, remember I was supporting you back when you were known as just Brian the Auditor. Now you're Brian the whatever the auditor promotes up to.
Yeah.
We know you just as Brian, you know, or whatever. Like, they're gonna love the evolvement. I have so many different evolvements of my channel, bro. I used to interview people in my living room, and that was my channel. That was my channel. Can you believe that? That's nothing. I don't do that now. Like, it's so different. I never went live on my channel for 5 years. I went live for the first time right before the Charlie Kirk event. Right before. Crazy timing.
Wow.
So even if you just put out a 5-minute video, they're gonna be like, okay, we know, because now every time you come on this channel, you may come on this channel 100 times more than you post on your channel, but they know where to find you. So they'll just go and follow you. You got 5,000 followers. He had one video. It just went up to 8,500 followers. He hasn't posted a second video. How did he get 3,500 subscribers? Because he's coming on Didi's channel, and there's this collaboration people look forward to, so they're familiar with them. Do it now while you're not fully, you're not able to do it full time.
No, you're right. And the MLK video is done. Like I said, it's just more the, you know, the editing, like putting in the screenshots of my receipts, you know, of what I found.
Right.
And as you're talking, the other thing I thought of, I should start the channel because I do have time to do live streams. You know, it's just the pre-recorded videos, as you know, because of my type of work, take time. Research takes time. But if I were to go live and someone said, hey, Brian, I want to hear your thoughts on like this,
you can do it
on my channel. It's not so much the time. I'm saying it's the time to edit, the time to read. That's why.
Right.
But live I could do.
But let me tell you why it's even better for you to do that now. It's better for you to do that now because it's not about the money.
No,
you don't need to hit a certain threshold, a certain limit to pay bills.
No,
you don't need that right now. You have a job. So, okay, fine, guys. I may or may not be able to go live for the first time in 2 weeks because I have work and I may be too tired, or I may have too many things to do. I got to do the research for the video I want to do. So you're going to have to wait 3 days for this breaking news everybody's already talking about. Brian's not going to be able to do it until 3 days later, 2 days later. They're going to wait. You think Candace, I know she is like a very big example because of her following, but you think if there's some breaking news about the Charlie Kirk case, all the biggest influencers cover it. All the smaller influencers cover it. You think Candace is going to get less people because she covered it 4 days later?
Right.
Nope. They're going to, because even though they've heard 8 different videos about this topic, we hadn't heard Brian's perspective. There's something different about when Brian shares it. Like, he may agree and cover some of the same points, but even if he just gives me 2 different sentences from a different angle, I came just for that.
That's value.
I came just for that. Yeah. I'm going to wait for Candace because Candace, I know she's different from X, Y, and Z for these reasons. So now it's perfect, like I told you before, because you're not doing it for money. So now you don't have to feel discouraged or overly happy or upset or sad or depressed because, shoot, this video didn't perform that well. No, keep growing. You got your own income outside of it. So now by the time you reach that point to leave your job, you're 30, 40, 50, 100,000 subscribers more, and you're able to do it.
No, that's great advice. Yeah, I think that's the plan. This is probably the kick in the, that I needed to just sit down.
The people keep saying it. The people keep requesting you, bro.
Yeah. Well, I think you, in my mind, you create like a value proposition with the audience. So if I'm not offering any value, What do you need me for? You don't need. There's a million content creators. Like you said, it's what's the different spin that Brian may have on this, whether it's in his research video or in his live? Because to me, that's value. Time is your currency. If someone's going to sit and watch me for an hour, they need to get something out of it.
Bingo.
Or why would you sit in? So, yeah.
Yep, I agree. All right. Chrome Dragonfly, thank you for the $10. You call low IQ, aka knowledge deficient. In my opinion, Andrew Wilson equals arc up, then DN. I don't know DN. The same arc up will stay up for Candace Owens because base stays plus new stays base. Because base stays plus new people find her real, classy, smart, etc. For sure. Thank you for the $2. Stu is better than Candace Owens. Okay. Thank you for the for the $5 super chat. The 11 truth. I'm getting ahead of myself because this person was in the live chat earlier on Teresa's channel, and you've given out quite a bit of money yourself today. Take it easy now. I appreciate the love though. Did you see Rachel Wilson tweeted, then deleted, not his best performance? I do not believe that. I do not believe that. I don't. Send it to me. Y'all got my email. Let me put it here. Don't do that now. Don't do that. Here's the email. Everybody see it? Send me that if that's true. Now, I am aware that she tweeted. She's been tweeting and she was like clowning Candace for certain things. She said, I'm like, lady, damage control. Get to work. And Ian Carroll responded was like, lady, I think what your husband needs right now is for you to make him a sandwich and just be there for him because he needs it. I thought that was so funny. So, yeah, man. Thank you for the $10. Beauty in her brain. Andrew was exposed as a fake lying Christian grifter. My favorite part of the whole thing was when he said that he watched the hearing live with his audience while taking their money. Great point. Here's a better one. Brian, he did not know a single one of the charges. Not the reason why that's worse than all the reasons we've already covered and we already know. To her point, Andrew admitted in this live to Candace and to the audience that he watched the preliminary hearing, all of it live each day. And that says a lot. That's dedication because it was like 8-9 hours at a time. He didn't watch it alone. You know who he watched it with? He watched it with an attorney.
Oh, that's right. He said that. He even said
you
that
watched it with an attorney, but you don't know a single charge.
Because the goal was never to master this case. That's why, right? Because if it was, he hasn't come across as a dumb guy. So he's clearly smart enough to know, oh, if I got to master the case, he knows how. Right. Because that's not the goal. That's why we started with what was the goal of this? And I don't know the answer. But the goal, I don't think, was to master the case. But if I'm going into a debate with Candace Owens on Kirk, you know, the first thing I'm doing, and yeah, it would be painful, as many episodes as I can, I'm watching of hers. Because wouldn't I have to?
I said that.
Wouldn't I have to?
Yes. That's why I said, like, this has to be a humiliation ritual. Because I'm like, at the very least, I thought he would play more clips of something. He didn't mention Egyptian planes. Nothing. I'm like,
he can't pronounce Hachu. Now I can't pronounce it, which is embarrassing. Ford, I shouldn't have brought it up because now I can't.
He said Tachuka.
Ford, yeah, like
what is Tachuka? It's Fort Huachuca. No, it's Tachuka.
You're debating a content creator. You've got to watch as much of their content as you can. You can't go off a 1-minute clip because then they can fairly say, like she said at the one point, oh, that was just my intro. That was tongue in cheek. If I would have seen the whole video, you would know that. You know, if you watch the whole episode, that's the danger of having a team splice these clips. Like, you've got to watch it. And that's why I wouldn't rush to a debate. Hey, Candace, I need 30 days. I'm going to tell you the truth. I have not seen enough of your content. I need 30 days. I'm going to go in the dungeon and I need 30 days. Okay. Maybe she accepts it. Maybe she doesn't, but that's how I would debate Candace Owens.
Drop the ball. He dropped the ball. I don't know. Two-dimensional perspective. Don't know what he did here. Like, they can try to dress it up what they want. They're going to clip the part where he was like, yeah, Candace, you said that Lance Twiggs DNA was on the gun when that has never been definitively stated anywhere in the evidence. Candace was like, you know what? You're right. I did state that definitively. I've backtracked. I concede that point but I can explain why. I didn't just lie and just say something just out of thin air. I made a little bit of a leap, and that's because of doing the preliminary hearing when they were discussing the 5 prints that were found on the gun. They said that Tyler Robinson's were on there, but it was degraded. It was the most degraded of all DNA prints. And there were just 5 other ones, and they mentioned Lance's name. I made the leap and just assumed he was one of those people. For the record, we don't know, he may be, but they have not definitively stated that as of yet. And I correct myself. He wouldn't let it go. She was like, this is literally not a gotcha. Like I'm explaining during the preliminary hearing, there's a reason why I said it. It's the way that they talked about it. They got so far deep into the details, and they were given a lot of the legal jargon that I was confused, and most people would be after they spend 45 minutes talking about this one small detail. You just get confused. That's all. But if that's the hill you're willing to die on, a lot of the people to try to help Andrew, they're going to clip that and just run with it. Yeah. But what about the other 4 hours? Andrew dropped the ball. Thank you for the $20. Bingo, you nailed it. 100% FBI style entrapment for Candace. That debate training was a ruse. It was never about the debate.
Could be.
Could be. An interesting name here. Thank you for the $5, Mason. Andrew scratching for a pack of Newports and malt liquor. And I think he got to it right away. He was smoking, thinking about life after that debate.
You know, in his defense,
I wonder if that's his superpower, which is probably why he chain smokes.
I was just gonna say, because if you've ever known true chain smokers, you have to be a little sympathetic in the sense to know they can't go 4 hours. They can't. I know a guy. He quit now. We couldn't even sit. One time we were at a friend's. I mean, he was. His whole life was ruined because where we were, he couldn't smoke. It was like in an apartment, and I've seen it. Like
I'm about to pull up. I'm literally about to put up a poll right now.
And that's not to like defend his performance. I'm just saying, like,
you're just being rational.
It's just true. Like, he could have been moody at the end because he hasn't had a cigarette in X amount of hours. That's a real, when you're chemically dependent on something, you're not in control. It's just that simple. You're not in control. It's not about where he could consciously, you're just not, talk to people who are into caffeine. It's the same thing. It's, oh my God, I haven't had a coffee. I have a headache. I can't wake up this morning. They're not in control.
Yes.
And 4 hours is a long time. That's not, but it's more than 4 hours. 4 hours was the stream. When he gets into Candace's house, he doesn't just light up.
Right.
Because what did she say? No smoking. So it could have been 5 hours, 6 hours. I don't know what time he got there. And the second it ends, I don't think he runs out the door and he's smoking, so clearly it's more than 4 hours. That's rough on a compulsive smoker. But at the end of the day, you make your bed, you have to lie in it. So that's on him, but it's still, you withdraw. Real alcoholics have to wake up and drink in the morning because they can't even go the whole night without drinking because your body is so chemically dependent.
Serious question. Do you believe Andrew Wilson would have performed better had he been allowed to chain smoke? That's actually a great point, so much that I want to know what people think.
And I thought of another thing. I wonder if that's why. Remember how when they said, oh, we're going to take a 2-minute break, it was never 2 minutes?
Oh, 3.5 minute breaks, it was longer?
Did they let him go outside and smoke?
Yeah, they asked that question earlier as well.
Well, they did, because I thought the same thing. I wondered, did they let him go outside and smoke? Because it was getting so bad where he's like, guys, I'm sorry. I can't, like in that, I can't. I need to just go out and smoke.
You're not performing well, Brian, when you got PBD looking at you like this.
That's a meme. Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the look you want from him in any regard, unless you're saying something so shocking to help your case, which I don't know what that would have been, other than saying that you have text messages from Charlie. Yeah, that's not the look you want. Not from this guy.
Yeah. But we don't know enough about him either. Who did he want to, quote, win? We have no idea because we don't know any of these people personally.
Right.
That's the whole problem. Everything we say is based on when a red light is on. I've never met him when the red light's off. So I don't know truly who likes who wanted who to win. For all we know, he's Team Candace, and maybe for whatever reason, he has to play a role where he's anti. You know, in the movie, Pacino and De Niro didn't really hate each other, just in the movie.
Right.
They did. But when the movie, so it's like, it's hard for me to unsee that. I just think this whole influencer class is one big movie.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it just really feels that way the more we look at this stuff.
Shout out to Miss Jilly. Thank you for the $10. Good to see you. Midterms are coming up. That's true. Fake conservatives, TPUSA think real conservative men hate women and will love Andrew. Right. It's just so strange who they're affiliating themselves with now. It's just strange. Leftist columnists and people who wrote hit pieces on Charlie. That's who they're supporting now. That's who they're pushing now. Strange. You're going to see him nonstop till November. Bad call. I agree.
Or it's not strange because what we've learned is the donors are not everyday mom and pop, your neighbor donor. So because it's big donors, it may not be straight. It's maybe, for all we know, maybe it's what the big donors want. And they don't care if it alienates the guy that gives $5 a month because they don't care about the guy that gives $5 a month.
Yep.
If they did, this guy wouldn't be around Turning Point because they'd be worried. Hey, the guy that gives $5, we're going to lose that guy. And that's what we learned about going through the financials. It's the big money runs these nonprofits. So if Andrew is an up and comer, then that's who's going to be in the mix.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Thank you, Ellie, for the $20. I love you two getting together and brainstorming live with us, truly representing the normal everyday thinker. Yes, I agree with Brian. How do you mistake your husband's Army job as sniper? That's a top notch. What does MOS stand for? I'm not sure.
That's a good question. That's got to be an acronym for something.
But yes, I agree. And I don't think she was mistaken, by the way. People don't know where he came from. That was a back and forth he had with somebody on Twitter. They were saying that they did like some deep dive on his life, and you can't find any type of print of him anywhere prior to 2020. That's when he became trending and showed up on social media. And all of a sudden, he's at the forefront. People are like, where did you come from? What do we know about you actually? Like, who are you actually? And he was like, what do you want to know? I'll be honest about it. And he spoke about the military. He did say something military. And I've since looked for it because I tried to use it for another video, and I cannot find his response for the life of me.
And even 2020, it takes longer than 6 years. As I said earlier, why is everyone so big?
Right.
Because it takes long. Look at mid-level YouTube channels that are really good. They have 10, 15,000 subs and they're good. They have good content and they grow. They get 100 subs here, 200, but not where they're doing the circuit of on every podcast. That's
millions of subscribers. Yeah. One tweet get millions of impressions, like multiple tweets every day. How are you doing that? How you got that type of reach? I can't fathom it.
It can only be with coordination.
Right.
With coordinating the algorithms and that's how you boost or suppress. Like you said, the Trump Jr. video, we got great feedback from the people that saw it, except no one saw it.
Right. Which should tell us something.
Yeah.
The ones that saw it loved it. Usually the algorithm will push it when they see whoever comes in contact with it watches it. But that's not what happens.
And funny enough, we were too early. What has come out now?
Right, yeah. And you've emailed me about it.
Everything and I hate to be one of those I told you so, but we have to because it's just true. Everything in there has all come out now.
Right.
All of it. So that's how they do it. So if someone off the street is getting it, it's worth going, that's strange. How is he getting pushed so hard?
Chrome Dragonfly, thank you again for the $10. Look up stimulant dose too high. In my opinion, allegedly, Big Chim's Twitch and deeply stuck on topics. Elon's Doge, please rewatch. You will see more next. Please watch newest Tucker. Please watch it twice. All right, I'm going to look up stimulant dose too high. Like, is that a YouTube video?
I'm not sure.
All right, I'll look into that. Thank you for the $2. It's all theater. Loosh harvesting. Shout out to Teresa once again. Thank you for the $2. Sport entertainment. It is all Hollywood.
To what we were talking about earlier with
that
the
is a fact.
That's exactly that. Yeah, sports entertainment.
It is.
And real sports should be called sports entertainment. It shouldn't just be wrestling. Shouldn't the NBA be called sports entertainment, not sports?
Right. And it's like that with boxing too. Yeah, once somebody, it was years ago, once they made that little small distinction, they're like, they tell you what it is. They tell you what it is. It has to be entertainment by any means necessary, which means, like, that's the reason, like with the NBA season, whatever drama happened the year before, that's how they'll set the holiday games up. So they'll set up the freaking
like Knicks are playing LeBron now on Christmas.
Right.
You're right. Basically, yeah.
It's not just about money, it's about entertainment. They have to keep you entertained. They know you're more likely to watch it because it's drama. So
can I say this on here? So this Christmas, they've been all promoting it from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. There's sports. And my question is, why wouldn't they ever do that on another group's holiday?
Wait, say that again?
So it's been everywhere going viral. This year on Christmas, I think from 11 a.m. to like 10 p.m., it's sports nonstop. Now it's NFL, NBA, NBA. And my question is, why wouldn't they ever do that on another group's holiday? And the other group, I'm sure you know who I'm asking.
Right.
Why wouldn't their holiday that ever happen? If you've noticed, the opposite happens.
I was about to say, as a matter of fact, it would be considered offensive.
It would be offensive. So why on Christmas holiday do we get this? What a great way to ruin the holiday. That doesn't help the holiday. That ruins the holiday. I'm sitting around distant from my family because I'm watching sports.
Right.
But
if you would have said it out loud, though, Brian, the way the world has been programmed and the way we've been programmed, we'd only make justifications for it. Like, I made a video about hair weave and how we've been programmed to not love ourselves in the Black community. And I've gotten so much pushback that people are posting pictures of my fiance, like just weird stuff on YouTube. Wow. They were doing that in the freaking community post, the community tab. They were posting, they were all on Instagram, all of my comment section, which I encourage and I invite people to disagree with me, but of no substance. They have no argument at all. They're upset with truth. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Teresa. Gentlemen, this was amazing. Shout out to Brian. For sure. Oh, he said
we hit so many subjects. It's crazy. We never like hit just the
right, because everything, so many things are tied together. And there's so many overlaps.
Yeah.
Measure Man, thank you for the $10. Shout out to Brian. I love it. I always look to see when you will be on.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
He's probably one of the people. Several people in the chat was like, "Hey, Didi, is Brian going to react to this?" I said that was random. Usually, Brian come on to like expose new information. They wanted you to be on to react to something. I was like, yeah, that says something. Shout out to Kay. Thank you for the $2. I love Brian's perspective. You are very handsome.
Well, yeah, I guess that goes counter to the other comments of how you have a face for radio. But thank you. Appreciate the nice words.
That is a crazy statement. You have a face for radio.
And the other one was like, you're ugly. Then someone got to my hair and I'm like, geez, like. But it was funny because the timing, it came off. Someone was saying, Brian's cooking right now. Brian's killing it. And I'm like, wow. And then right under that, I'm like, come on, that seems not genuine. That seems very disingenuous. So that's why I just.
Chicago Baker, thank you for the $10. Thanks for a great show, Didi. Brian, it's great seeing you. Maybe doing your own podcast would do really well. Hopefully he'll listen to y'all eventually.
No, that's definitely the plan. You can hold me to it. I mean, I've already shot the video, so 100% that's the plan.
All right. Megan Murray, thank you for the $10. I believe this is all fake and Charlie is alive. Maybe he had no choice, or maybe this was his way out of playing quote unquote Charlie Kirk. I can't unsee the fake play from 9-3. What's Brian's position?
Oh, yeah. So I'll just keep it quick. I mean, I agree with you without going into a long explanation, but I thought at day one, who's this, Megan? So Megan, I thought this, the moment it happened, friends can attest. I said it and I still think it. I think it's kind of how you just said. I called it exit stage left. And so it's not, Charlie doesn't have control. Didi, do you recall you had 3 women on your show? And I feel bad bringing this up because I didn't see the full show. So I may be taking this out of context. You asked one of them or all of them what they thought on this topic. And one said,
Pause,
Yeah.
just real fast. I'm going to let you continue. But Beyonce had the greatest album of all time. No, I'm joking. All right, so I'm going to let you finish. That was a Kanye reference. The 3 women that you're talking about is Teresa BetterLife.
Oh, the one that's leaving comments? So
I want you to know.
Well, I'm going to just say what I was saying anyway. But
Teresa, Brandy, Billy, the ones I was on live with earlier today.
Okay.
But
So,
whatever point you're about to make, I'm probably going to agree with you. I already know where you're going.
and I'm going to say this, as I said, it was like a 5-hour live stream, so I didn't see all of it. So if something, but it goes to what you're saying here and what I was saying. You had asked this question, and one of them had said something to the effect of, almost like, I know him, he would never do that. Meaning,
Brandy
like
said that.
he would never, exit stage left. And my only counter to that would be yes, as she quoted Charlie Kirk, that's who you know. But the person playing the character, we don't know. Therefore, we can't say we know he wouldn't do that because we only know the surface person in front of us. And that's all I was going to say. And that was
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think you were very respectful. I don't think that was offensive at all. But this is what I will say. When she said it, I don't think I gave her much pushback. And for the record, I mentioned again on their live that's my position. And I told them I wasn't going to delve into it deep there on her live because it wasn't the place for it, because I know they don't hold that position. This is what I will say publicly. And if Brandy sees this, Teresa's probably still watching. This is with all due respect. No malice at all, no disrespect intended. What I have to remember is that I've stated this before as an insult, actually, to many of these people who like to argue with you and be disrespectful. But I'm going to make the same point, except this is not meant to be disrespectful at all. A lot of people are 1 or 2 dimensional, not in a bad way. I don't mean that like people aren't smart. These people are extremely intelligent, Brandy and the likes. But what I mean is they don't see the world quite like we do with certain things. And that's okay. In fact, sometimes I'm jealous that people only see it from a 2-dimensional perspective because it's safer that way. Like you're able to sleep better at night when you see the world that way.
Yeah.
So for them, when I said it earlier today, a perfect rebuttal, I knew it then and I know it now off the top of my head, that I could have just said is Teresa, in particular, if she's still watching, says that she actually not only didn't know Charlie prior, she had never even heard of Charlie's name, which I was shocked to hear that part. Brandy not only knew Charlie, she was the exact opposite because they're friends. She not only knew Charlie, she not only met Charlie, her and Charlie were not only following each other on social media, but she almost quit her job to work for Turning Point USA. So she's invested. She knows Charlie, she's met him. And my perfect response or rebuttal to that would have been, I think that's a reason why you should know. Because one of you have never heard of Charlie. The other one of you do know or have heard of Charlie. And you find him to be very honorable, very respectable, a very commendable person. And I understand why. I'm different from both of you. That is, I did not know Charlie before September 10th. I knew him. So I'm different from Teresa. I knew Charlie, but we didn't follow each other, and I've never met him in person. So I'm different from Brandy. So I'm able to be objective. That's my point. I'm able to be objective while being informed about who this person is. Teresa's in a position to be objective because she didn't know him, but she don't know a lot about him because she had never heard of him. I know a lot about him, and I had never met him. So therefore, I'm able to think in a way and challenge and entertain certain theories that others may not even be willing to entertain because they knew Charlie. And they're like, man, he's a great person. I just can't see it. and I understand why they would take that perspective.
Yeah. So that's all I would ask them to consider. You can meet someone, but if you met the actor and not the person, that's where it becomes
Convincing
confusing.
them that these people are actors is what I'm telling you is.
Oh, it's too much.
Yeah, no.
But maybe over time, maybe that's why we keep repeating these points, because as you see more connections, none of us were born with this knowledge. It was simply as when you were talking about me earlier, you said, I forgot what the military I was speaking about, military intelligence. And you said, wow, because over time, I told you what happened. The first time I heard military intelligence, it didn't make sense to me. So I was no different than these folks, just on a different topic. It was way over my head. Made absolutely no, like military. I kept thinking, I thought it's guns and all of this. So it's the same thing here. The more we talk about it, maybe the more we show connections, the more you're likely to maybe think about it a little different. Okay, maybe I reconsider. Maybe it could be an actor. I would ask them, hey, go look into Tupac. Go look into all these other things that have happened in the past, and it was the same thing. So
heck yeah.
It's just
speaking of, shout out to Tammy for the $5 super chat. She says, Didi, Sarah Saba, who I don't know who that is, sent you a link from Miles Mathis. I also don't know who that person is. He believes Charlie Kirk is alive. Please look at this before you collaborate with Jesse.
Okay. Sarah Saba be Sabby? Who's that YouTuber you mentioned once?
You're talking about Sabby Sabs, not the same person. Sabby has a very interesting last name, but that's a good guess though.
Okay, for some reason I was thinking of that name. By the way, that's a great channel. You were turning me on to that channel because when you had mentioned it, I went and checked her out.
Yes, she's she's another one of those people like Jimmy Dore. You wouldn't know that she's left leaning, like she considers herself a leftist, but you wouldn't know from her channel because all her videos are very critical of both sides. You don't typically see that from leftists. Yeah. They typically only go after the right. Like I was like, whoa, like she'll share it every now and again, like Jimmy Dore will. Like Jimmy Dore was talking the other day about how he's a leftist, and in a Charlie Kirk video, reminding people that he's leftist and that he believes in my body, my choice, and things of that sort. Bro, just watch one video of an abortion. I just saw a video, and I'm gonna leave it alone, of a baby fighting against the instrument that they were using to try to pull it out. I almost came to tears. A. Jones shared it on Twitter, retweeted it, and I then came to tears. The fetus was literally dodging it. Well-developed head, arms, belly, all of it. Yeah, don't tell me nobody, my body, my choice. You see one of those, no. Let's move on before
It's weird because that's one thing Kanye was really bringing attention to in a good way. Remember when Kanye was screaming about abortion?
Oh, yes, right. And he talks about it in the black community and how
he was really bringing good attention to that issue. And then, of course, never again could we hear from him about it.
I was like, yeah. Now he went away, he came back, his face was a little puffier. He looked a little bit unrecognizable, and he had a different tone about him.
But it was rare to see a famous person at that level go that hard on that issue because they're so demonic. They take the other stance.
Right.
And that's just why I always remember Kanye doing that.
Overwhelmingly progressive in Hollywood, for sure. Measure Man, thank you for the $5. So have y'all finally figured out what the plus means? They coming for your children. They are normalizing it. Funky is a part of this.
This one's over my head. Forgive me.
Figure out what the plus means. Whatever he's saying, this is different from the other ones I'm confused about. This one, I know what he's talking about. It's just it's going over my head in this moment because I was just reading about. He's not talking about the jab. He's talking about something else. And I feel like I was just talking about it on one of my lives. I forget. It'll come to me.
And when he said they're coming for your children, we talked about on the last video what the psychiatric centers they are.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I don't know if he means that, but.
Shout out to Teresa again. Teresa locked in. She says, what time did this come in? Okay, this was 30 minutes ago. She said, you guys have me shook in the best way.
And that's what I mean by just giving our takes and trying to bring interesting points. It can change maybe how someone. I had a guy in my gym. He came up to me after about 2 years of talking to him, and he said, this was maybe a few months ago, that I've completely changed his entire worldview.
Good for you,
talking to me,
and good for him.
So that's why I mentioned earlier about how you said about the 3 women. They don't think it now, and I said that's fine that they don't think it now because it's possible over time from listening to us and thinking about things on their own that they will come to a different conclusion. Things take time. We're all at different experience levels. I don't know what their age is. My age is more, so I may have an advantage. The more years you have, the more things you've seen.
That's a fact.
So
that's a very good point. Very good point.
It's unfair to compare them to me. Why I said to you, I thought it was unfair of people debating these college kids in the last video. And I got a little bit of heat for that, saying, well, they deserve it. And this, it's not about deserve it, don't deserve it. It's not fair. If I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, I should not be going against a black belt. It's not fair. I view these debates the same thing. It's not going after OnlyFans. They're not equipped for this. They're a lot younger. They're not as well read. You're not going up against your counter.
I agree. You know? I agree. The only actual pushback I'll give you on that, actually, I'll form it in a question. How would you say, how should they approach it in the age of the internet? How should they approach it differently? Just hear me out. Charlie Kirk go to these events. Yes, part of it is him arguing with them. But what I have to give Charlie Kirk credit, despite our criticisms and our critiques of him, Charlie was overwhelmingly, I know there's that word again, I'm using it on purpose because I want to show that we can use it accurately when it actually needs to be used. He overwhelmingly was respectful to them. Charlie had a lot of moments where he could have, yes, he had moments where he humiliated some kids, sure. But Charlie had a lot of moments where when you watched him, you like, oh, that was a great moment to like punch down. He didn't. And somebody asked him about this. In fairness to Charlie, I try to be a fair, objective person. They said, what are you doing here? We're kids, bro. We're 17, 18, dude. You're much older. You're 30. And he goes, and I love to hear what someone had to say as a rebuttal to this. He goes, yeah, but aren't you a voter?
Yeah.
You're allowed to vote. It does not matter if you are as advanced. If we can have it our many people's way, you wouldn't be allowed to vote. You wouldn't be allowed to vote because you don't know. You don't know. But because you are, and that's the reality we live in, not only that, but you are the overwhelming majority and you're the future. We have to reach y'all. So what would you say they'd have to do differently? And as far as the OnlyFans thing, yes, a lot of it is content. Most of it is content for the sake of content. But some people's minds will be changed and has been changed of a small percentage because if anything, it's probably out of spite. They like, I'm not going to change now for sure because you humiliated me.
Yeah.
But some of them do change once they have these engagements, debates. Sometimes it's just conversations on camera. And they're like, you know what? You're right. This is wrong. You made some great points. I didn't have answers to them. I'm dealing with a lot of trauma. I should seek help and I should stop. If I want a family and I want to live a healthy life, maybe I should walk away. That has happened before.
Yeah, so maybe the better way to think about it is nothing should change because I agree with you. The way they're doing it is fine. I think just maybe labeling the guys as this is the king debater is what should change.
I agree.
But I think the actual setup is probably fine because you gave great examples of Charlie Kirk. I've seen the same thing. He's not overwhelming them verbally. Hey, you idiot. How do you not know that? He's not saying any of that. And so that's all good. He's treating them very compassionately. I just thought we should pump the brakes with then putting that person up as, bro, what a debater. Like,
fair enough.
No, what I'm saying is not at all. Because as I just said, you can't give me that credit if someone who's 23 doesn't know what I know. They're 23. I have 20 plus years on them. That's unfair. I've read 500 more books than them. I've thought about this more than them. That's completely unfair. And so I just view this the same way. By the way, one other thing on Charlie, there's only one time he doesn't show compassion. Did you ever notice? Where he gets very nasty. He tries to make
when that one topic comes up.
What? Yeah. What's that?
When that one topic comes up.
Exactly.
Whenever the conversation comes up about that one foreign nation, because that got to be what you're talking about.
That is what
that's when Charlie is the most contentious. He's the most defensive.
Nasty too.
He can get nasty.
Yeah.
He's willing to get nasty, and he's willing to hurl insults and call people names like anti-Semites when that's not everybody's position, and saying this Jew hatred has to go when people don't hate Jews. And he's quick to go to it. And it's like, okay, you go from being this compassionate, ultra mega intelligent person to all of a sudden you're this you resort to this low IQ strategy, Charlie. It was weird, you know.
And the one I'm thinking about, the guy came right out the gate, Jesus follower, hardcore Christian. Boy, did none of that matter.
right.
Blasted that guy.
Right.
Made him feel stupid. I'm like, wow.
Which is part of the reason I don't want to make this video about that. It's part of the reason why I questioned Dan and I questioned Charlie, man. Like certain things about it, because I just Candace said in the debate today, she said she believes that Charlie was starting to come around. There's no way. Like I know it turns people off to hear that in this moment. There's a right time and place to talk about or mention certain things. Maybe right now isn't the time to be critical of Charlie, but I'm not buying it. Charlie Kirk he's so far ahead of many of us in these topics and the informations and the history on these topics. You are not going to convince me that Charlie Kirk all of a sudden decided to come around in 2025. He knew. It's not new information. No, if anything else, maybe the people closest to him who were not Zionists were starting to get to him. And because of the October 7th, maybe. But I don't think 2025 is when it hit its peak. I'm having a hard time. Charlie knew the truth. He knew he was on the wrong side of history years ago. He did. Charlie knew. He knew our foreign policy had been effed up. He knew that people have been accusing this country of being occupied for years. He knows. Charlie knows. And Charlie knows that that's not just coming from a conspiratorial perspective. He knows about the conspiracies about 2001 and who they say are responsible. He knows. And Charlie Kirk, if you're telling me Charlie Kirk have heard this from so many people, because it's not just a few people in this country who believe it, a lot of people do, that Charlie Kirk wouldn't then make the decision to do what he always has done, or led us to believe that he does, which is do his own research. And if you do that, you're going to be red-pilled on the topic. And if you choose not to be, it's because you're a propagandist. Respectfully, you are. So telling me Charlie Kirk was coming around the summer of 2025, he wasn't. Charlie knew about the truth years ago and chose to continue to accept money from these people and allow them to grow his platform. It's just the truth. You cannot like me for it. Don't care.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a hot take, but when you're in the club, there's no such thing as coming around. There's no such thing. So I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
I'll give you an example. My friends that are MAGA gave me a hard time because they told me in 2024, Elon Musk came around. He's no longer a liberal. Mark Zuckerberg came around now, right? Jeff Bezos now. No. When you're in the club, there is no such thing. I assure they have. They're so above thinking about left and right. That's so you can't. The last time they thought about left and right was probably like which glove to put on, you know? Oh, did I put my left glove on? They're not. You think Elon Musk, when he's making brain chips, is sitting around thinking about, oh, you know, I was watching Fox News last night. Jesse Waters made a good point. I think I'm starting to come around. You got to be kidding me. And it's the same what you're saying about Charlie. Those conversations don't happen. Those thoughts don't happen. There's levels to this. You and I, Didi, and the peasants watching are at this level, and these guys are in a club. What did George Carlin say? It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. That's what he said. And when he said it, it hit me. Like it made perfect sense. That's what this is. Sorry to tell, that's not happening. You know, it doesn't matter the topic. Like none of these topics that we're divided on are they coming around on. Not on the gay thing, not on the trend, none of that stuff. That's so beyond beneath them. Again, I hope it's not a hot take, but it's what it is.
Right.
Like maybe it's a hot take. I have no idea, but that's just the way this works.
But let's get through the rest of these super chats. All right.
Yep.
So Teresa, once again, thank you for the $50. Look at you showing some love today. Don't wait. The time is now. I agree. Okay, thank you for the $2. Quote unquote true conspiracies with Brian the Auditor.
Although I think that could be a bad word to have in the channel name, only because wouldn't that be the first to get, I don't know, to get flagged?
All right.
You know, but I like the name. I just hate that.
I like that they're just already proposing things for you.
No,
That's
these are great names.
Man, listen, it's a beautiful thing, bro. When you see this, the first 5 subscribers, I'm telling you, it's gonna do so much, bro. To just watch. You're building a community. It's not just random people. Yeah, you don't know the people in real life, but what I mean is like you have common interest. And you know what they're coming to you for, you know.
The top, yeah.
It's dope. Thank you for the $5, Amber. Thank you for the $5 again, Amber. One thing I don't understand is why he was so set on Lance Twiggs' prints, like he was trying to defend Lance. Yeah, great point. I think what Amber, I think what Andrew was doing there was just another gotcha. He was trying to prove that, see, look, everybody, here's something that Candace Owens definitively said on her show. And she not only said that, but she said that his print was more so on the gun than Tyler Robinson's was, which if his print is on the gun, it would absolutely be on there more so, because they made the definitive claim during the preliminary hearing that Tyler Robinson's print was the most degraded of anyone's. So if Lance Twiggs' DNA is to be reported because it's we don't know yet, then yes, that would be a fact. But the reason why he was doing this just as a gotcha. Look, everybody, she made this definitive claim and she was wrong. We actually don't know the truth to that. Therefore, you should also discredit every other thing she said, even if it's true. Don't matter. If she said it, don't trust her, don't listen to her. You shouldn't think or ask questions going forward, because look what happened to Candace when she was thinking for herself and asking questions. She made a mistake like all humans do. You don't want to make a mistake too. Silliness, foolishness.
Yeah.
Foolishness. Thank you for the $2, Colorado. Brian on fire tonight. Brian's on fire every time he comes on.
I just say what's on my head. Yeah. There's not much filter here. Whatever I'm thinking, as you see, comes out.
Thank you for the $20. The Calling Coop. It's like Hollywood is not the moneymaker anymore, like centuries prior. So now all of this is even the bots. And maybe my beloved Candace is the new quote unquote Hollywood. Heck, I love you, Didi, but you could be an actor too. Love y'all. See, this is why I follow people like this. You see that? She questions everybody. Yes.
Good.
Yes. Be an actor. And what you are supposed to do is put whatever necessary precautionary measures in place so that you can get triggered or alerted whenever I do something that's suspect. And you like, okay, Didi. Okay, Didi. All right, Candace. My position is question everything and everybody. And if there's nothing there, cool. We're not saying everything is a conspiracy at all times, but I'm saying think for yourself. Think for yourself. Calling you are, if that's your name, you are spot on. I'm with you on that one.
And what did I say in one of our lives? Never outsource your critical thinking to another influencer.
Ooh,
because you can't. So everyone right now is giving
say that again.
Brian,
That's a bar.
You should never outsource your critical thinking to another influencer. And so right now, I may be the hot thing on this channel, right? Oh, Brian's great. Brian's great. He's doing awesome. Fair enough. But if I recommend something, you should not just blindly go, well, because Brian said it. You should not. That's outsourcing your critical thinking. You should at least stop for a second and go, oh, Brian's saying this, but nah, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going to go, he said fast for 70 hours. I don't think that's very safe. I read about fasting. That's just an example, right? And you would go, you shouldn't just, but no, I'm going to fast because he does it. And I like what he said. That's an example of like outsource. And another thing about the psychological operation I talked about earlier, once they have your consent, you can't see it coming anymore.
Right.
That's why NBA players we talk about are so powerful because you've given away your consent without even realizing it. Now you've given away your critical thinking. You've outsourced all of it and it's over. And you don't even know it. That's the worst part. You don't even realize it.
Agreed.
So be very careful. Yeah.
Oh, here's the Carlin Coop again. Thank you for the $5. And I'm real. No bot indeed. Love y'all and Christ is King. Peace. Amen.
There you go.
Okay. Here's this is recent. This is in the last 20 minutes. What's up, Teresa? I agree with you and Brian about Charlie, the character, the role. Whoa, what? I didn't know that.
So what did I say earlier? The more you talk about something, people can reevaluate.
Okay, Teresa.
Maybe she read the weird scenes in Laurel Canyon that you're recommending. Because once you read that book, I am telling you, you have to reevaluate. You have to. You can't unsee.
We don't make this content like the Andrew Wilsons is in the all these naysayers who all of a sudden don't entertain these conspiracy. We don't make the content. We don't have these ideas simply to be different or contrarians. There's a good reason to. And like he said, like Brian said earlier, when you start to notice patterns, at some point it's like, all right, look, man, I've driven by a speed bump and a gas station 3 times in a row. Am I going in circles? It only makes sense, or maybe not. Maybe you're in these one of the rarest places where you just so happen to pass a speed bump, 3 different speed bumps and gas stations that just look just alike. But if not, then you probably are going in a circle, and you should probably turn your GPS on to get to where you need to go. But what they're telling you to do is, don't use your GPS. You're all right. Just keep going where you're going. But I'm running out of gas. You all right. Foolishness.
That's why I wonder how old the word coincidence is. I would love to know that, because it sure feels like they made up that word to set up for anytime you see a pattern, it's just a coincidence.
Right.
Right? Like, why is that? Like, the two don't go together. No, a pattern's a pattern. It's not a coincidence.
Right.
It's a pattern. I mean, the guy wrote a 350-page book on patterns. That whole book is just pattern. That's a 350-page speed bumps. To your point of a speed, that's all he's showing. It's just pattern after pattern of, that's weird. This family has a colonel. This actor has the. At some point, it's just crazy to keep saying, "Oh, coincidence."
I agree.
The math.
Mr. G Ness, thank you for the $10. I'm a little behind in the video, but I so appreciate 3D, 4D perspective. There is always a bigger picture. Brian Trust. And take the leap of faith. You have so much of our support.
Thank you very much.
All right,
appreciate it. I mean, that's why I always like coming back on the channel too, because once you have the support, it's easy to come on.
Like, yeah,
you know,
and like communal. Right, and like anything else in business, like whenever it started, whenever you come on, we just plug it. Matter of fact, we'll have segments where we just go to your channel, put it on the screen, and have at least 100 people go over.
Yeah. I think you'll like the MLK video, especially you being a guy that dug into MLK yourself.
Yeah, I'm interested because I'm familiar with some of the people that passed away around him. But you said and you've shared this before, where it's multiple. I am so looking forward to it. I want to see it.
Two of the niece, A.D. King, you know, MLK's brother.
Yeah.
How can this happen? Remember, both his kids.
Is that the one that drowned, right?
Yeah. So he drowns, no water in the lungs, and both kids die suddenly while jogging. Just think of the odds of that. Both of your children die suddenly while jogging.
Don't give too much away now.
Sorry, but it's only like 10% of it anyway. So, because there's so many more.
Sheesh. All right. Kay, thank you for the $10. I felt he was a paid operative. It felt like it only because he was so big. Yes, he was brilliant, but yeah, I digress here. And the video is already 3.5 hours long, but Brian is one of the biggest ones that said it first on the channel. He was everywhere. Who was paying him to go to the campuses and only focus on specific talking points? Brilliant. Kay, I mean, what do you need me here for? You don't need me. Clearly, Kay, you don't need me. You don't need Brian. You got this figured out.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant question. Who? And a lot of us don't tend to think, well, a lot of young people tend to not think it because they're like, well, I mean, he's here. And that's kind of what matters. Let's just deal with what's in front of us. But no, how is he there? And why him? And who's choosing the topics? Why those topics? And why those campuses? You know, never comment on the Jays or YouTube community problems. He added to the division in the US. Right.
Yeah, even if you're on the right side of the issue, as we said, it's still like the trans thing. Obviously, he's on the right side of it, but is that really making anything better?
Right.
No, it's just keeping us in, you know,
picking sides,
picking
political sides. And so, yeah.
Because the bigger problem that he hasn't commented, how did we get to the trans issue? He never addresses that. He addresses the symptom, which is the trans issue as an example. But why not address the root of the problem? See, that's another thing you said earlier about where you pay attention to people and try to figure out if they're legit or not. To me, influencers that only focus on symptoms, I become suspicious of. Because if you're pointing me to all the symptoms, what is that really doing?
Right.
Are you going to cure the cancer, or are you going to tell the cancer person just take meds?
Right.
Just look around at the influencers. Get laser focused on what they're harping on. And 9 out of 10 times or more, it is a symptom.
Okay. Teresa says, look at my DM. I just sent you, dated March 6th. All right, let's see.
I've been
saying for weeks, if not months, that Charlie Kirk isn't as innocent as a lot of people think. I think he was in real deep. I think he changed his mind and wanted to change course. And they're like, can't have that. Can't do that. You're ours. And we all know what happened to him. Wolves in Finance addresses that in his video today. We'll talk more about it this week during our lives. Subscribe to me there on YouTube, all of the socials, and we'll see you this week.
Okay. And that was back in March. Teresa, good point.
You don't need us either.
Clearly you don't need me.
Yeah,
you don't need us.
You got it.
You've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, go subscribe to Teresa. Soon I'll be saying, once again, go subscribe to Brian the Auditor.
There you go. Appreciate that.
Colin Coop, thank you again for the $10. Yes, patterns. I'm an actual licensed behavior analyst, and honestly, patterns in human behavior comes natural to me. Give me 5 minutes. I'll know you before you say hello. It's my passion to learn and research. And that's what I just love about humans, bro. Like, we understand these things and we just learn and grow from one another. But then there's these ops, what these operations that are ran. It's just in 2026 is ran on the internet, where there's these influencers and people that's telling you, no, that's not normal. It's not natural to think, and it's not normal to question things that don't make sense. And you can only question if you have absolute proof, undeniable, irrefutable proof that what the counter could be. No. I don't need a counter. What I can say is that something's missing. I put $100 under my pillow. It's not there anymore. I know my brother was here earlier today. He's gone. My $100 is gone. No, I don't know if he stole it. I don't have proof. The $100 is gone. What happened to it? He's saying, well, if you don't have 100% proof, leave it alone. What? I'm just saying I'm going to investigate it. That's normal.
And so quickly, just on the patterns in human behavior, what are we to make of running up to 2024? Every single smart influencer told us to vote for Trump. And that includes Dave Smith, who I like. It's not to call him out, but it's just factual. All of them. How do I know? Because I paid attention. During that, I wanted to see who's going to come out and say what I'm saying, about the Palantir, about all of this I was saying then, and no one is the answer. And when I say no one, I don't mean no one like a guy with 5,000 subs. I mean what I call the influencer class. No one. Not Candace Owens, not Tucker Carlson, not fill in the blank. Put any name out there. Joe Rogan, go all of them. Shane Gillis, this big comedian that's getting all this attention because now he's walking it back. Oh, when I told all my comedian fans, I didn't really know. Okay, why does it work that way?
All right.
Why does it every influencer? It's hard for me to believe, isn't it? Or am I that none of them had their own thought?
Right.
Oh, the Logan Paul guys, Jake Paul, Logan, they all came out they hated Trump during COVID. They were the opposite. They were for Biden and Kamala. And
it's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. It's just hopefully it's going to be many people this want to apply to. There's going to be a lot more people vetted, and they're going to be ready for the flip again. Here's the new person who's hot, the new person who's going to change everything. No, they're not. No, they're not. If you make it to the White House, but don't let. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I'm a loony that believes that my pronouns are "I told you so." Let's just wait to see. Because it's just a cycle, man. It's not about wanting to be right. It's about we notice patterns. Have you noticed that no matter who's in the White House, the country continues to get worse? The roads continue to get worse or stay bad, but they got money for wars? That's weird. That's weird. You got money to be all these fancy buildings that we don't need, but you're not actually trying to help the people that's struggling in this country? Because it's not about that.
So if you can get all the complex issues right, how do you get this one wrong?
Right.
And so do we have to look at influencers with less credibility is kind of my question. Because if they keep getting it wrong every November, every 4 years, then what am I to make that they get the other stories right, Charlie Kirk, but then they can't get that one right?
All right.
Why can't they tell us not to vote? Why was I getting destroyed for recommending that to people? And I was recommending why. I didn't just say don't vote. I said, here's why I'm saying it. And I'm listing out what's coming. With Trump, Iran, I said, that's coming. And people screamed at me, he's anti-war. I said, no, he's not. Look, don't go by what he says. Look at the war stuff. And I laid out as I laid out to you. So that it's all there. And no influencer, no understand. It just seems hard to believe.
This is what I will say, especially for my generation, Brian, before I forget this. It's going to be very interesting. I do believe we're in such a unique position to just see where the country is going to go after Trump. I think we're in a very dangerous, I don't mean to like scare people. We're in a very dangerous situation and a very scary situation in some regard. It just is. If you're a believer, you have no reason to be afraid. Because I think what Trump has done and the shift that Trump made when he got in the White House, the betrayal that so many people feel is, in my lifetime, for my generation, is the biggest bait and switch in politics that I've seen, for sure. Especially after you saying that the election was stolen from you, the whole ordeal. You get back into the White House. People who were libertarians all people were like sick of the Democrats. They were so radical. Now I'm interested to see, now that people understand what's happening, because a lot of people's position is, if Trump did it, anybody can do it. They thought that Trump was the best thing since sliced bread. Trump has done it. So how are you going to behave this time, the next time around? What are you going to do? What are we going to do? Not just make YouTube videos about it. I'm saying, how are we collectively going to come together as a country? Because I'm telling you right now, my position is that none of y'all got him in the White House to begin with. But that's a conversation for another day. But if you believe that your vote counted and you trusted and believed in that man, and now he's doing what his funders want him to do, his sponsors want him to do, his backers want him to do, he's following marching orders just like Andrew Wilson was today. Allegedly.
If voting worked, it'd be illegal.
Right.
Are you kidding me? You think they put the power in the peasants to like threaten the power vacuum? It'd be illegal. You'd be in prison if you voted and it worked. What I'm most scared of is, I think I said this to you on the second stream. They pull a Kirk on Trump and they blame Iran. The entire world changes if they do that.
Right.
The entire. If they do that, you won't even be able to take a side. Like if you, God forbid, say, I'm questioning this. What we're doing now, I don't even think will be allowed. If they say Iran took out Trump and we come on here and say, no, they didn't, I honestly don't think that'd be allowed. I think that's how serious it would get if they go that far.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to do something. Right? Like, they're not just going to slow play this Iran thing. Were they going to slow play it for 20 years? You have Pearl Harbor. You've got the 3 buildings in New York from 2 planes, and you're going to have whatever this is.
Something's going to happen in the next year. I truly believe that. Being that midterms are coming up, it's just so much happening right now. The Charlie Kirk thing was a year ago. Something's brewing. I believe that. There's a video of of President Trump was hiding in a freaking, I don't know if you saw it. He was hiding in like a
looked like a humiliation ritual.
Yeah, he was hiding in a little like a go-kart thing or something.
Yeah.
By the planes. You saw it?
Yeah. And it feels like predictive programming. That since the Butler thing, they've been setting us up to get us ready for this inevitability.
Did you see what Bill Gates said? I don't want to scare people, bro.
Bill Gates?
See what Bill Gates said?
I didn't see what he said.
He said billions of people are going to pass away over the next few years. I think he said by 2027.
Yeah, I mean, you never know with these people. They say it could be true. I mean, they have weight, because
he said if we don't get a grip on the water supply, that's what he said.
And
for those that don't know, Bill Gates owns pretty much all the water in the world. The world. I found that out of all people through a basketball player, Kyrie Irving. Looked it up. It's true.
Yeah, he's back to tweeting, by the way.
I saw that after the Dr. Fauci congressional hearings. I would be too.
Yeah,
that's his redemption moment.
How great would Kyrie be as a guest on here? Talk about a guy that thinks at a 4D. You know how we're saying 2D? Like, you want a 4D guest? throw me off here and get Kyrie on.
Kyrie,
he sure seems like a 40 thinker.
Yeah.
Like you're probably not going to agree with everything. Some things are going to be over your head, but boy, you're going to get something out of it.
Right.
He strikes me as that. Maybe I'm naive but I don't know. He really, yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's see. All right, let's get through these. It's almost 9:00. Which of you, thank you for the $10. Which of you will investigate the military drone carrying planes circling UVU and did practice runs 909? See John Kuehling YouTube while Candace can't talk about it. Do you mind looking into that? I'm curious to see what you think about that, Brian.
I don't know about this. No.
So John, she says that check out the video, John Kuehling. If you can write that down. Yeah, the YouTube channel is John Kuehling.
Yeah.
Titled Why Candace Can't Talk About It. The military drone carrying planes circling UVU.
Look, I never rule anything out. So it very well could be. I don't. For me, when it comes to Charlie, I was just into the financials because that's something that I just felt like that's where my lane was.
Mm-hmm.
Like Egyptian planes was over my head, that sort of stuff. I just never looked into, didn't know anything about. But sounds interesting.
All right, thank you for the $2. The calling coop. Symptoms are pointless. It's the function, the why.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah,
absolutely. LaBella Anima, thank you for the $2. Get right with God and fulfill His purpose for life. Amen. I agree.
Amen.
Which is why I say people should not be afraid. The calling coop, thank you for the $5. Also, are we going to bypass the quote unquote Easter surprise and Trump hit us with that demonic card game thing with him
that
being
was
savior?
Insane. That was insane.
Right. Exactly. See,
they
people
do it right
forget.
In front of your face now.
Right.
They don't even hide it anymore because they know they don't have to. They mock you right in front, right? Like it's crazy. They used to never be this flagrant with the mocking, but now they know they can.
Which, to my point earlier, which is why I'm so interested just to see what people are going to do. It won't make a difference to many people, but some people, they're seeing it for what it is, Thank you for the $5, K. Dems are just as bad. Exactly. BB will just buy them. I believe we're in a spiritual war. It's bigger than all of us. Entities are working overtime. Yes. In high places, I agree with you. Now, who's BB? I don't know if BB is here.
Not sure.
It's not Biden. BB will just buy them. Forgive me, that went over my head. I'm not sure.
Must be a politician, or I'm not sure.
Right. All right. Last super chat. Thank you for the $20 base notes. Hey, Didi got a podcast and Brian the Auditor. Like how they tagged you as if it goes to
That's
a channel.
Yeah.
Which one of you are Kobe and which one of you is Shaq? I'm gonna say Brian the Auditor is definitely Shaq. I'm Kobe. I'm a young Kobe. Whippersnapper.
That's funny.
Whippersnapper.
It's a great analogy though. But unlike those two, we're gonna stick together. There's not gonna be some falling out over egos or who even knows what's true, by the way, because if everything's pro wrestling, that feud may have been pro wrestling.
All right.
Who even knows? But anyway, yeah, I guess
shout out to base notes, man. We definitely appreciate that big time.
That's a great comment. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Y'all don't know this, but I'm healing a knee. I injured my knee playing ball about a month and a half ago, and when I sit like this for so long, it gets stiff, and I'm supposed to be icing it and stretching it out. And so I'm trying to stick to that, and I've been on here for almost 4 hours, and so I'm gonna get my butt up off of here. I try to get to some regular comments before I get off. I don't just try to read the super chats, but we have been on here for a long time, so I'm gonna have to miss out on that tonight. Butler was real. It was quote unquote them. Then Trump changed. I understand why you believe that, but we'll discuss that in another live. We've discussed that many times before, but we definitely have to discuss it again. All right, y'all, man. I love y'all. Brian, it's always a pleasure, brother. Appreciate you for being on. And again, as a reminder, please hit the like button if you haven't. I know that it's easy to forget to hit the like button, but an even bigger point is stay tuned for Sunday, so 3 days or 2 days, or Monday. I'll try to cover this on a 4-dimensional level, and maybe I'll reach out to Brian to see if he's able to come back on. But I'm going to try to cover it from a 4-dimensional perspective on just what I found in the interview, or just what I think about the interview. I'm not going to make up anything or do any stretches. If there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But just from a deeper perspective. And so, any last words, Mr. Auditor?
No, sir. I look forward to the finance. Well, actually, I don't know if we said what it was, but the video we were going to do. So
heck yeah. All right, man. I'll see you.
Didn't mean to slip. Okay, see you. Take care.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. We're building a rapport. Brian is dope. Yeah, y'all really like Brian, and that's dope. I think that means a lot to him because his work that he's been working on for years is getting its due diligence, is getting its recognition. You know, I think when you put that type of work in, man, those types of hours, it's just dope when you see that there's value that people, take from it. You know, how can we find Brian? He is working on starting the channel. These are like the perfect times, I keep telling them, for him to already have one so that y'all can subscribe to him. So even if y'all forgot y'all subscribe to him and he posts 2 months from now, at least y'all will have his channel, And so I've been telling them. All right, last super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Always appreciative. Candace can't talk about it because it's classified, even though the data is available on Flight Tracker or Flight Aware. It will be a criminal act for violating the Espionage Act. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, something there. Okay. All right, well, I'm gonna get up out of here, man. As I always say, please pray for everybody mentioned in this video, including Andrew Wilson, including his wife, including Candace and her family, including Brian the auditor, myself, and many of my super chatters, my regular commenters, and many of you all out there at home. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I'm Demetrius, but I go by Didi. I'm gonna catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.
Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate of UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that is better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to it. Alright, let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people or the rich white Jews that own these record labels because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you?
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.